The story begins in a mysterious place. There were 3 people there. Sword God Beido told his disciples Mo Ling and Ye Xiao Tian to protect him. In this sword world, there hasn't been a Beido Sword God worthy of receiving an incomparable sword in 1,000 years. The Sword God Beido will cut down the mountains so that they can see with their own eyes the rise of the Sword God who is not afraid to perish. He must not have expected it. On the day he was pushed off the cliff, not only did he, Xiao Chen, not die, but also by chance crossed the border into the fabulous sword world and became the Sword God Beido. Now he will return to Earth, and they will fight. We just have to wait. A sword appeared in his hand. Xiao Beido decided to split the abyss with his sword. All of his disciples should watch this carefully. The students observed their teacher. And now the time has come. What about the thunderous grief he would create with one swing of his sword? Everyone was wondering just how strong Beido's sword was. The abyss began to open. Ling and Xiao Tian must see their teacher's progress. But then he was pierced through by his own students. He certainly didn't expect to be so given to it. Ling asked not to blame them. Who was to blame for their teacher not passing on the art of the Beido sword to them? Now that he would die, the power of Beido's sword would become theirs. How dare they take advantage of a teacher's trust in the first place? Now comes Retribution. Just as she expected a ruinous person like the teacher to make such a move. Several swords flew at them. Well, something was wrong. It was a blast of lightning. They prepared a special ceremony for their teacher. This amulet makes the power of thunder 100 times more powerful. Now the teacher can go on his way in peace. A ray of light appeared. Afterward, they noticed the ring. Now the sword power would be theirs. Ling thought that killing this old man would be much more difficult. But who knew that dealing with the first sword god in 1,000 years would be so easy? They didn't even get their clothes dirty. That's so great. From that moment on, they became the lords of the sword world. Meanwhile, some memories began to flash through the teacher's mind. He remembered making a sword of ice bones for the girl so that she could perfect herself. Xiao Tian was an orphan, and his teacher took him in and raised him. And this is the gratitude from them. He opened his eyes. Suddenly, he was somewhere. Could this be Earth? Contrary to expectations, he didn't die. It was at this place that Qijan pushed him off the cliff, after which he accidentally entered the sword world and became a sword god. Who would have thought that 7,000 years later, he would chop the abyss with his sword and accidentally come back? The Earth's aura is so weak. He doesn't realize how much time has passed since then. The kingdom of the sword god consists of the sword disciples, the sword master, the sword sect, the sword king, the sword emperor, the sword lord, and the sword god. He was attacked by his own disciples, the kingdom fell, and now he doesn't even know how to get there. The inner meridians were also destroyed by the thunderstorm. And now, in order to return to the sword world, you must work on your body and change the structure of your arteries. The earth aura is too weak and does not regenerate. He doesn't know if he can return to the sword world again. Ling and Xiao Tian had pierced him with their swords, and they would definitely pay for it. East, Jianhai City, Gudianshan Park. He recognized this park. Only he doesn't remember all these buildings standing here. Xiao Chen doesn't know what became of his parents or how many years have passed on Earth. Zhenghai has become much bigger and busier. 2020. The girls said this guy has a cool traditional costume or just Hanfu. He looks like they're from feuding families. We should totally take a picture. All of a sudden, he was picked on by a girl who asked if he was going to the cosplay festival too. She also asked where he bought such a cool Hanfu. Well, the guy didn't understand what she was saying. They need to get to the meeting place soon or they'll be late. He asked not to run so fast. Everyone had stunning costumes. Xiao Chen kept looking around. The girl asked to let them pass. As they made their way through the crowd, someone noticed them. A man and a woman recognized Xiao Chen. But didn't this guy disappear 7 years ago? The girl asked where he had been missing all these years, and the man asked why he did not want to return the money. As it turned out, it was Qi Guoqiang and Zhang Wanglu. Xiao Chen asked what they were talking about. As it turned out, the guy borrowed $1 million from Qi Zhang and ran away without paying back the debt. To avoid punishment, the guy's parents committed suicide. And his poor relatives, like dogs, can't even do anything in return. All the respected people in Qishao have been holding a grudge against him for 7 years. If he still has a drop of humanity left, he's the one who better return the favor. He didn't expect his parents to be dead. He took the man by the collar, after which he asked where Qijan was now. That bastard's looking to get himself killed. I don't suppose he's gonna beat up a man too. Having pushed him off the cliff, Qijan must have been afraid of trouble and decided to set him up. His parents had always been strong people, but they couldn't handle such a blow. Qijan probably killed them and rigged all the evidence so that everyone would think it was a suicide. The woman noticed that this guy also looked like he owed Qishao money. Do all debtors really look so important? The man's patience was wearing thin. He's all dressed up like that, but he acts like a dog. So he had a good life with Qi Xiao's money. So this girl also lived on Qi Xiao's money. The man replied that it was pretty good, and asked how much per month. But she didn't understand what he was even talking about. Xiao Chen replied that he and this girl didn't even know each other. After which, he again inquired about Qi Zhan's current location. Xiao Chen would immediately go to him. Looks like he's going to run away again without returning the money. The man himself will now call Qi Xiao to deal with this scumbag who likes to make money and run away. His late parents were outraged by his behavior. If he had such a son, he would have been furious. Xiao Beido will definitely take revenge on Qi Zhan. It's too much, hurting your brother like that. She'll even help him get that million back. It turns out that this guy even got a rich girl. So he also embezzled Qi Xiao's money to become even richer. The man dialed Qi Zhan. This Qi Xiao will come and deal with him. Xiao Beido was already waiting for him. His phone was ringing. Qi Chen was lying in the bed with the woman. He picked up the phone and asked who it was. The girl asked Qi Xiao didn't talk for a long time. The man replied that he met Xiao Chen here, so he should come here sooner rather than later. Qi Xiao clearly didn't expect this. He's on his way. I can't believe that scumbag is still alive. They're being outrageous. She's gonna help her brother pay off his debt. Suddenly, he noticed something. Murong Xiaoyu can't pay off Xiao Chen's debt. He wouldn't outline, and with her out of respect for the Murong family, so she'd better leave. There is some strange aura around Qi Zhan. He seems to be able to control the evil forces. Everyone was happy to see Qi Xiao. The man asked if he knew the girl. Qi Xiao replied that she was from the Murong family. Her name is Murong Xiaoyu, and her sister is Murong Fei. Quite famous in the east of China. But didn't Murong Fei go to middle school with him and Ye Xiaohuan? As it turns out, she is Murong Fei's sister. Xiao Beido offered Qi Xiao to choose the way he would die, and needless to say, he didn't give it a chance. And he's pretty good with his tongue. The man decided to help Qi Xiao teach that insolent boy a lesson. Qi Xiao wondered if he really wanted revenge. And what can he do? He has tons of money. In this era, money can even make a ghost work in a factory. He'll give them the money as soon as they break that kid's legs. They took his orders. That kid shouldn't have crossed Mr. Qi. These two are fans of ancient martial arts that they were specially invited by the Qi family. They are said to be the ultimate martial artists. Well, it doesn't mean anything to him. There's no need for Qi Xiao to get his hands dirty with garbage. The man would teach him a lesson on his own. Xiao Chen didn't understand why he even wanted such a barking dog. Getting rid of this kind of garbage is the easiest thing to do. But Xiao Chen calmly dodged that punch. The man didn't understand how it was possible, but it was too slow for the guy. He threw a punch at him. He crashed into the wall after the impact. Is this really it? The man decided to find out the master's name and what school he was from. This man's name is Qi Long. He learned the Qi family's Tongbaik fist technique while he was a child. Qi Long told Qi Xiao that this man has a master-level internal energy. Xiao Chen called out his name. So it turns out my brother's a martial artist too. He's just a little familiar with immortality cultivation methods. He told the guards to get out of the way. He only wants Qi Xiao. So it turns out this bastard is studying the power of the Immortals. But the man fears there's more to it than that. His breathing is incredibly deep. The kid could be a great master. The man had encountered this level of breathing before. And it was only for people at least at the master level. Even if he is a master, Qi Xiao is not afraid. All their purchases today are on him, Mr. Qi's account. Everyone began to thank and praise Qi Xiao. But the thing is, he doesn't like the guy. So he asked people to get rid of him. They decided to throw this garbage out of here for the Lord. Even the cops decided to deal with this kid. Xiao Yu didn't understand what they were up to. He had just put Qi Guo down with one punch. But he was seriously injured by a back kick from his disciples. Everyone started yelling at him to get out of here, and also throwing garbage at him. Qi Xiao is curious to see how the guy will handle this whole situation this time. Does he only talk the talk and can't actually do anything about it? He decided to challenge Qi Xiao to a duel. Xiao Chen will definitely come back for him. Qi Xiao wondered if this kid was really as good as he said. But there was no need for the man to lie. Just one look at him would send shivers down his spine. The woman asked Mr. Qi to avenge Qi Guoqian. He ordered Qi Long to keep an eye on the guy, and as soon as he got a chance to get rid of him, Qi Long accepted the master's order. The man advised Mr. Don't mess with this handyman, but Qi Xiao has a lot of money that can eliminate him. Shopping center. Inside the mall, he changed his clothes. A girl touched him. Xiao Yu asked if the little brother was sure he didn't want to go to her house. Xiao Chen replied that he was sure of his decision, and thanked her for the borrowed clothes. He would return it as soon as he could. She also promised her grandfather that she would introduce the guy to him. Her grandfather had practiced martial arts for many years. He would be happy to meet Xiao Chen. He also messed up Qishao. His family is very powerful in Jianzhou. He will definitely take revenge. They must be all worked up right now. If it's fate, they'll meet again. She still tried to stop Xiao Chen somehow, but he wouldn't listen to her. It was already nightfall. The aura of the land is now depleted. He should start by finding a place to regain his strength. He needs a powerful technique to purify his body to strengthen his Beido sword skills. The final scripture. The scripture on purifying the body from chaos. The scripture on the methods of purifying the body with the Vajra. All of these methods are quite good, but now the time of the earth is coming to an end, and cultivation is too slow. Xiao Chen chose the Purple Mist Sutra of the Body Hardening Sutra. Although quenching the body with purple haze is one of the simplest techniques for purifying the body, but in addition to quenching the body, it is also quite good at absorbing spiritual energy from the external environment. However, he needs to find the right aura somewhere. But the most important thing now is to repair her internal wounds. The next day. This sunrise has a clear trace of lunar power, and because of that, one could consider this night to be quite productive. Not only had he recovered some of his wounds, but he had also easily overcome the middle stage of a swordsman apprentice. Something caught his attention. There was a girl running around with wounds. It was Lun Jiawen, Xiao Kunlung's fiancée. If she keeps running, they will kill her. She's so young, yet she has outstanding sword skills. She seems to be at the peak of sword learning, and has unknowingly passed the threshold of the sword realm. He never thought that he would meet such a gifted swordswoman in a modern city. They're ready to grab a girl in broad daylight with firearms. They don't give a damn about the law. But there's no law to speak of if he's holding a gun. And who she's trying to intimidate with a broken sword. She better be a good girl, or she's gonna taste the gun. In Jianzhou, their family is free and by the law. Their second young master took a liking to her. Her body is incredibly hot, so it's no wonder the young master had his eye on her. She'd rather die than give herself to them so easily. But then, she was prevented from committing suicide. The man didn't realize who had done it. He'll take her with him, and these guys are free. She obviously didn't think she'd meet this kid here. I can't believe he's completely bored with life. They started shooting at him, but he would quickly catch all their bullets. They're still young, and there's no point in talking about their connections when they're shooting at random. He said that this person is his. Xiao Beido hates repeating the same thing, especially 3 times. His patience is not rubbery. He's a master of masters. Even if he is, they're from the Wu family. This kid, if he dares to speak against them, he should know the consequences. Lun Jiawen thanked the master for saving her life. Even though the guy is a master of some clan, it's impossible to resist the Wu family itself. There are 2 kings in Jiangzhou. The king of the Wu family and the king of the Qi family. The military and political circles are completely under their control. These families have power that extends to the entire east. Therefore, it is better for him to escape while he can. With his ability, escaping wasn't that much of a problem. If he got a chance to meet the man called Xiao Kunlun, he'd better tell him that the girl was not wrong about him. He knows that name. Is this really how she wants to be punished? She swings her broken sword. If she runs away again, she better not blame them for not being as nice to her as they used to be. The other man asks what they will do with this master. So what if he's a master? Hearing the name of the Wu family, fear will prevent him from acting. Xiao Chen wondered who this girl was to Xiao Kunlun. It had been many years since he had seen everything with his cousin. Xiao Kunlun had already been in the east for many years and had achieved a lot of success in the war. It could be that this Lunjia is his fiancé. The girl replied that Kunlun was her fiancé. They have been engaged for 3 years and were supposed to have a wedding this year. But after angering the Wu family, he got stuck behind the eastern wall. They would no longer be back. The men ordered her to be grabbed. Xiao Chen grew up on the legends of his blacksmith Kunlun and his adventures in the military world of the East. So he must help the girl that will soon become a member of their family. They swarmed to attack her again. He repeated again that this girl was with him, studying 25 years of sword technique, but it was useless against a couple of fire cannons. So what was the point of all this then? She threw her sword. He may be a master, but once he contacts the Wu family, there will be consequences for him. It's not easy to practice martial arts at such a young age, and he dares to provoke them. This master isn't even the slightest bit able to stand up to them since they have firearms. Learning sword techniques wasn't useless, especially since she had just started doing it. Sword techniques have a killing method. There is also a sword body enhancement method. Their killing power is incredibly great, but it will take 20 years to learn them. That's why her ancestors, the dragon families, simplified these techniques into simple exercises to revitalize the body. Simplified techniques are worthless against firearms. She wondered, for how could the master know all this? There's something wrong with this master. They had never seen a sword fly before. One man was even curious about his name. His name is Xiao Chen, Xiao Beido. For insulting brother Xiao Kun's fiancee, he will spare them if only they tear off their right hands. That kid's too arrogant. Why don't they just split up? The kid will let them go and they won't try to catch Wen anymore. But to him, they are nothing more than simple ants. He'll count to 3. The man yelled that the kid was talking nonsense and ordered the others to shoot, but he easily fended off all their bullets. Time was getting shorter and shorter. This kid's not human. We need to call for backup. And so the report finally made it to 3. He chopped them up. Lunjia was amazed by his strength. The guy asked if she was okay. Her breathing is unstable, so she needs to rest. Xiao Chen replied that he was Xiao Kunlun's cousin. If that's the case, he should call her his daughter-in-law. Suddenly, he felt the presence of the Qi family's dog. If there was a way to escape from heaven, there was certainly no way to escape from hell. He took the leaflet, after which he threw it. His attack hit right on target. Xiao Chen decided to gather some herbs to help heal. Meanwhile, the man sat there not realizing what kind of kung fu this was. The aura of the modern city is too weak. Even finding the herb that stops blood took half a day. In the immortal sword world, it grows at every turn. He started the meltdown, after which 2 green pills were formed. Without an alchemical furnace, he is only capable of creating 2 low-level pills. He would never think of taking low-quality pills. Another pill he brought to the girl to eat. Lunjia didn't know what it was. The guy replied that it was a healing pill. Without the alchemical furnace, its effect might be weak, but it should be enough. So it really is the healing pill. There's something she doesn't like. It's just that her grandfather said that the art of alchemy was lost hundreds of years ago. She had no idea he possessed this secret art. Suddenly, she kneeled down. Xiao Chen asked what she was doing. She begged to save Kunlun. The guy asked what happened to him. He pissed off W's family, and now his life is on the line. But he is now at the top of the army. How dare the Wu family even speak against him? It's a very different world now. Jiangzhou isn't the same as before. Kunlun is his brother, so let him save him. Xiao Chen told her to stand up and not to call him master. The girl is his daughter-in-law. He had no idea that modern realities were as cruel as those in the immortal sword world. He promises that he will help save his brother. Xiao Chen has some things to do. As soon as they are done, they will immediately start the rescue. Karaoke in Guangzhou. Qishao sat surrounded by other women. He poured wine into the girl's mouth. Suddenly his subordinate burst in and said it was bad. The guy asked what happened. As it turned out, Bishop Zhilong had disappeared. In a fit of anger, he broke the glass, but someone was already there. There was blood and dead bodies of guards everywhere. Qishao thought that another one had come who was once again pouncing for execution. Xiao Chen told the man to get out of his way or he would suffer the consequences. Qishao ordered this guy to be killed. Since he dared to snarl at their young master, he is destined to die. But this guard is no match for him. Qishao was telling those that had already started running to stop. He's lived long enough. It's about time he got what he deserves. Qishao started begging to be released. He would give him anything he just wanted. Xiao Chen agreed to let him go. Only he put it right through the wall. It would be too merciful if he killed Qishao like this. Xiao Chen has already broken all of his bones and ruptured his tendons. He wants him to live the rest of his life as an invalid. He won't let him get away that easily. Xiao Chen will always keep an eye on him. The Qi family and the Wu family keep Jiangzhou's economy afloat. Besides, Qi Zhang is a direct disciple. Isn't he afraid to provoke the Qi family like this? But what could any Qi people today even do to them? Others asked what school he was from that he had the courage to appear in this place. Here come the other victims. It was the boss of the Qinglong gang. How dare he bring the Qi family's dog into his house? He ordered him to be torn to pieces. But Xiao Chen has no interest in wasting his time here. With just one punch, he sent one man into the ceiling already. Anyone who doesn't want to die, let them go. He's a freak. No wonder he dared to oppose Qishao with some tremendous strength. Qinglong didn't want to offend the master. He asked for forgiveness. They left quietly. Qinglong ordered to bring the best experts and inform the Qi family. She had a hunch that Kunlun was missing. The boy wondered who in the Wu family he had angered so much. He cheered up the family's second son, Wu Wenliang. Kunlun was worried about her and asked if everything was all right about 5 times. And the last time he was home, Wenliang seemed to have decided to take him seriously. Suddenly, someone who knew the girl approached. Oddly enough, it was Wu Wenliang. He sent these guys after her, and she just took them apart. It was him. Xiao Chen inquired about what he had done to Xiao Kunlun. At the very least, His father hired tons of people to get rid of him. He thinks 3-on-1 is enough for a fair fight. It looks like he's being deliberate. Xiao Chen punched him. The subordinates began to worry about their young master, but they didn't have time to think about the young gentleman's condition, because the main character had already immediately thrown himself at them. He dealt with the first one, with the second one, and the third. Wenliang asked who he even was, but Xiao Chen stepped on his face. Xiao Chen asked the girl if she wanted the guy to kill him. But even if he is killed, Kunlun won't be able to come back. He asked me not to kill him. He is the second heir in the family and has tons of money. His brother Qi Zhang is at the karaoke here nearby. He has money too. He can forgive as much as he wants. But the mention of this brother's name only seemed to anger him. He sent 3 lights at Wu Wenliang. They all got to where the protagonist had planned. Xiao Chen had broken all of his moving joints, so now he could safely be called his brother. Wenliang won't just leave things alone. He asked his name if the guy was not afraid of payback. Xiao Chen gave him his name. Jinglong brought the elder over and pointed at the guy, for he was the one who had beaten Mr. Qi. This young man is a good fighter, but he is cruel and unethical. Besides, he managed to cripple a man of the Qi family, and after immediately a man of the Wu family. The man likes talented people, so if he bows down and praises the man as a teacher, he can save the man's life. But he's not worthy to be called his teacher. After 75 years of training, he had barely reached the pinnacle of Qi refining realm mastery. Xiao Chen doesn't advise this man to mess with him. He is simply not capable of doing so. He's a cocky guy. How dare he treat Elder Morong so arrogantly? Xiao Chen was not even in the plans yet when Elder was practicing martial arts. But the Elder wondered how he even knew that he had practiced Qi refining realm, and how he had practiced for 75 years. He's cultivating for the sake of attaining middle-aged looks, but he needs to eat more magic pills to do so. If the Elder gives him the elixir of life, he will consider telling him everything in detail. It's a pointless conversation, so they'll leave. Jinglong ordered him to be killed. They immediately started shooting at him, but no harm came to him. He doesn't want to kill anyone. They're nothing more than ants in his eyes. So they'd better get out of his way while he's in a good mood. Can he really catch bullets with his bare hands? Everyone started scattering away from this monster. Murong Hai introduced himself. He is the elder of the Green Dragon Gang. He asks for leniency. He seems like an ordinary martial artist precisely because his body looks ordinary. Not only was this guy able to recognize his cultivation level, but he was even able to catch a bullet with his bare hands. Could it be that he is a legendary immortal cultivator? The current city's aura is weak. His martial arts practice in 75 years of cultivation is meaningless. He is trying to chase 2 birds. Trying to hold on to his young body is just ruining his talent. This old man is quite a capable cultivator. Even in a modern city, Xiao Chen can't gather a small fraction of Qi realm energy. It is only through the power of the Green Dragon Gang and countless natural treasures that it is where it is now. He maimed those 2 guys from the Qi and Wu families. Their families won't leave things alone. So the old man suggested that the guy hide in his house for a while. Isn't he afraid of what these families will do to him? Although they are quite powerful, the rich people of their families only appeared a long time ago. In terms of the strength of the family names, they wouldn't compare to his gang of green dragons. The Bantha had developed in the shadows for many years. They aren't as well known in the city, but they are incredibly powerful. They span the east and the west. There is a small green dragon gang in the Sword World. It was most likely founded by the gang's ancestors on Earth after they ascended there. The gang has a lot of treasure they can give to this guy. That's why he asked for another chance for a little guidance. Xiao Chen didn't mind going to his house and resting. Murong Hai told Jinglong to fall on his knees and thank the master. He asked the Grand Master to be magnanimous and show mercy. How dare he even raise his hand against such a high-ranking person? Murong Hai doesn't even need laws to punish him for this. But Xiao Chen said that this person is just an ant in his eyes. He is not even angry with him. What happened today? The Qi and Wu families need to know in great detail. And the guy has a message for them. There's no need to go looking for him to retaliate. He'll come to them. They came to the Qinglong dojo. Murong Hai said that this dojo belongs to him. Xiao Chen didn't think that such a large dojo could be placed in the center of the city. He also asked if Murong Xiaoyu was his granddaughter. Turns out the guy knows his naughty granddaughter. She has a terrible temper. If she sasses him, let the master forgive her. In fact, he owed her some money. The guy also asked for someone to help Lun Jiawen change her clothes. So this girl did the handyman a favor. That's just great. His family knows the Moon family. He'll arrange it. Lun Jia mentally thanked Xiao Chen. Truth be told, he has been studying martial arts since childhood and has met many masters, but he had never heard of the young master before. It takes 30 years to become a master, and another 30-40 years to reach Grand Master. When it is possible to reach the level of key perfection, people will be very old, and further perfection will be more difficult. Muronghai has a humble request for him.
He begs the lad to be his mentor, teach him something. Lad replied that she lord does not.
Suddenly the Lord's son shouted out that this guy must be a liar. It was Murong Xiaoyu's father, Murong Zheng. He had seen a lot of people like this guy. Could it be that his father had already gotten senile dementia? How can such a young man be a master? Xiaoyu was happy to see her little brother. Fate brought them together again. How dare Murong Zheng disrespect Master Xiao? He should quickly kneel before him. So not only did he screw over his father, he screwed over his daughter. He's finished. But Xiao Chen only stopped his fist with 2 fingers. He's too brave for someone with part of his stomach damaged. The man might hurt himself and start vomiting vomit, but he won't change his intentions. But suddenly blood spurted from his mouth. The others got worried. Muronghai stunnedly looked at this. His strength not accumulating, the man didn't understand what was happening. Xiao Chen assumed that he was perfecting the form of a tiger, hunger style. It's a very strong form, but he's in too much of a hurry and the Kui moves too fast. Muronghai told his son to apologize to Master Xiao. He wanted to do so, but he remained silent. Xiao Chen started to press the points in his body. He felt that his chest was no longer clogged and his internal energy was circulating freely. Xiaoyu praised her little brother. He should rather kneel before an eminent master. Something's still wrong, though. He's too stubborn. But since he's Xiaoyu's father, we should help him. Xiao Chen suggested showing the dual form of tiger and crane. Does this guy really think a man will poke him since he accidentally saved him? Tiger and crane is the greatest technique that Hongmen and the Buddhists developed. There aren't many who master it nowadays. It took him 40 years of training to master the tiger form. Did that rascal decide to bring his father down? He just had little faith that such a young master could teach him the form of a tiger and a crane. Even Xiaoyu asked her to believe her that this guy was very strong. This form of technique is from fist fighting, in which all that matters is the power of the blow. To reproduce it, you don't have to get into a tiger or crane pose. Just the power to strike should come from the heart, and should be like the strength of a tiger and the movement of a dragon. Agility, like a crane, and speed like the wind. He actually succeeded in doing that. The shape of the tiger and the crane. We need to stay close to Master Xiao. He called the master an outstanding man. Indeed, he was able to demonstrate a legendary form. Others just watched it, not expecting such behavior from him. Watching the guy, he even felt a little sympathetic somehow. He's so awesome. And it doesn't occur to me that a youngster could be a martial artist. Not only is he an outstanding master, but he also knows how to temper qi. Lun Jia saw it with her own eyes. He's also an excellent swordsman. He single-handedly defeated the people the Wu family sent to capture her. They even used firearms, but it didn't help them. Everyone listened to this story in shock. Is tempering qi really hard? He probably came from a place where there are a lot of them. And there his abilities are unremarkable. So stop being so surprised by every single thing. Xiaoyu asked her grandfather what this place was. This is the ancient temple on Kunlun Mountain. Every 50 years, a person from the temple descends on the city. The founding mentor Qing Lunben was also a disciple from the temple. Xiaoyu asked if the little brother came from this ancient temple, but Xiao Chen replied negatively. Who did she even ask to ask him such a thing? There are records in ancient books that each generation of temple disciples that descend from the mountain are given a test task. Qing Lunben passed the challenge and founded his own society. Upon his return to the temple, he was rewarded with the elixir of immortality. The celestials who descend on the city pretend to be ordinary citizens. He wouldn't even tell the truth, will it be so? If his identity was revealed, he would fail the mission. That's why it's necessary to keep it a secret. He asked Mr. Murong to help him find out if his cousin was still alive. Lunjia thanked the master again, but he replied that he shouldn't be thanked like that. Since this is what the master is asking them to do, they will do their best to help. Muronghai told his son to hurry up and change, and then to find out about his cousin by all means. If he delayed, his father would break his legs. Is he really thinking of leaving like this and not even saying thank you for the master showing him the tiger and crane form and helping him resume qi movement? But it's nothing. He's a true master. You shouldn't make knowledge an absolute. It should be passed on to others. Muronghai wishes he understood all this. Murong Zheng thanked the master, to ask him for help again in the future. Xiaoyu asked not to be angry, because Grandpa had been cheated many times by charlatans. That's why he became like that. Muronghai sent his granddaughter away, for he and master still need to talk. Murong is actually his brother's son. The old man put his life into training so that he could someday take revenge on his brother. And now his brother has been killed, and he, who has gone through so many teachers, has hardly gotten stronger. That's why he wants to ask him for help. But his martial arts moves are the most remarkable in the city. So why does he need to get even stronger? It's just a matter of principle. There's someone much more gifted than him. He's the head of the Wu family, and his name is Wu Jianlong. He's reached the level of Grandmaster. This guy just turned down Wu Wenliang, so it's unlikely he'll just let it go. It's no big deal, the guy will watch them. But the old man wanted to say that if he was stronger, he would be able to resist the Wu family. He also asked what level the guy was at now. But Xiao Chen doesn't know exactly. If you define by their standards from novice, mentor, master, and grandmaster, he's more of a mentor. He may be old, but he doesn't need to lie. Xiao Chen asked if the Qinglan Society had any relics. Invited me to go with him to the treasure pavilion. Grandpa's pavilion is very old. It's one of the best in Jiangzhou. There are many antiques and healing medicines that are 100 years old. Not that he's bragging, but you'll have to look for pavilions like this. There are some extremely valuable items in it. Xiao Chen asked Xiaoyu if she knew Lun Zhouwen. She are both students at Jiangzhou University. She is in the second year of her master's program, just like her older sister Xiaoyu. Afterward, he asked if she knew Ye Xiaohuan. They went to high school and university together. There's a reunion tonight. Xiaoyu invited the boy to go with them. He just wanted to see Ye Xiaohuan. They hadn't seen each other in 7 years. The guy wondered how they were doing. You don't have to lug around a handyman. The craftsman can take what he likes from this treasure trove. There were boxes lying there. They're 100 years old. Grandpa treasures them the most. They say that if you take one pill at death's door, you can extend your life by a year. These are valuable treasures, but he's most interested in what's inside. It looked quite curious. It is strictly forbidden to touch the things inside. There is an ancient sword of the founder of the Qinglan Society, and rings that once belonged to ancient celestials. In the past, some elders did not believe in spirits and wanted to destroy the divine relics. But something started happening with the seal. Turns out it was broken. They need to leave soon. Things started flying from her to Xiao Chen. Lunja shouted at him to be careful. It's hard to imagine an ancient sword being found in a modern city. This sword has killed many people. The evil spirits in it are extremely powerful. The master may be harmed, but he calmly took the sword in his hand. Somehow it can still be used. It was amazing. Also in his hand was a ring. This sword and ring aren't bad, so he'll take them. He can give them some miracle elixirs as a token of gratitude. But there's no need to thank them. He can take anything he wants for free. In this life, he wants to learn the Big Bear sword style. This sword and ring will be of great use to him now. He needs to take a break somewhere quiet. If the old man needs anything, they will discuss it a little later. In his past life, because he failed to master the Big Dipper style, he was ruined. But in this life, he will master it perfectly. Jiangzhou, Wu's family. Wu Jianlong, the head of the Wu family, shouted that a bunch of worthless idiots couldn't even handle a girl. And this Xiao Chen defeated the senior assistant. The others said that Xiao Chen was very strong. They didn't stand a chance. He ordered me to find out where he is. Since they couldn't control him, they would play dirty. Wu Jianlong ordered him to be brought back alive. He'll skin him alive and pull out every muscle. These elixirs are old. They are good for making medicinal pills. Too bad he doesn't have an alchemical furnace to make them. He stood up and wanted to leave the room. Xiao Chen inquired what they were doing here. This time, the reunion is going to be very festive. At the most expensive and first-class restaurant in Jiangzhou. Lunjia's classmate has already picked them up. But Xiaoyu is still not their classmate after all. But she wants to go too. She's going with her sister. The seniors at their university are very beautiful and different, from jealous and bold to tender and devoted. It's like she's going to the market to choose. He just stayed silent. Xiao Chen told the gentleman that he had 3 pills in his room that would help him with his life force regeneration. Let him take them in, and he and Xiaoyu go for a walk. It's a frightening skill when a master is able to transmit sound waves in space. He definitely came from that ancient temple. Did he still have any doubts? The ancient relic of their ancestor could not have fallen into the hands of a mere layman. He has no doubts about his origins. We should stay close to him. Murongjeng should go and make inquiries about his brother. The blonde asked to see if everything was okay with his hair. He barely got a deal with the hottie, so he needs to keep up the good work. This blonde man's name was Jian Tianhao, and next to him was Liu Feng. Liu Feng replied not to get his hopes up, because she has a fiancé, and it's the same god of war, Mars. Doesn't he know yet? He was hired to work with the Wu family. Is it really true? If he just waits a little while, he'll realize it. While she's grieving, he'll take advantage of her condition. Here they come, Xiao Yu greeted them. They were very cool seniors in their freshman year. They were invited to be in a movie. Tian Hao is very popular now. Lun just said that it had been a long time since they had seen each other. Tian Hao replied that he could tell about Sister Xiao Yu to his familiar directors to recommend her there. We'd have to escort Xiao Yu back home somehow. Though, why not have some fun with her little sister as well? He invited the girls to sit down. Xiao Yu replied that she was not a child, but she shouldn't be mad, because tonight he's going to be an adult. He'll keep them company in the back seat. But Xiao Yu wants her brother to sit with them. Xiao Chen will sit between them to guard them. Where that bastard even came from. Jiangzhou District, Jianghai City. Zilong Villa. It turns out that Xiao Chen disappeared for 7 years and then suddenly reappeared and defeated Wu Wenliang and Qi Shao. He has a troubled past, now he's at the mentor level. Yet he has no problem stopping a bullet with his bare hands. I'm surprised he's not at master level. Moreover, the head of the Qinglan Society, Murong, respects him a lot. Perhaps he had been to some forbidden place, for such masters are rare. They need to get down to the basement soon. Buried in the dragon's sarcophagus is the dragon sword, which hides the dragon's power tempered by the golden pill. The blessing of their family depends on it. The inscriptions on the sarcophagus tell of the ancient secrets of achieving immortality. In ancient times, spiritual power was abundant. People were capable of reaching the heights of perfection. But one day someone with the help of magic shielded them from spirituality, and laymen could no longer ascend, except that once every 900 years, things get back to normal, and spiritual power is restored. If you seize the opportunity, you can overcome the worldly level, break the shackles, and ascend. The subordinate asked if the master believed this. He does not always believe it, but after all, the ancestor of Qinglun also came from a forbidden place and was able to ascend upon his return. These inscriptions are clearly ancient, and the sword itself is extraordinary. It probably once belonged to a celestial. Lately, it's been emitting some strange sounds. The barrier between heaven and earth is being depleted, and the time to ascend is near. With his help, he will definitely succeed. Murong Hai will be silently envious, and now something is starting to happen. He tells his subordinate to get out, for he wants to try to subdue him. In the meantime, they had arrived. This is the most iconic building in all of Jiangzhou. It must be full of girls. He felt some kind of strong energy. It was like that of a divine sword. How come there are so many of them in the modern world? And now it doesn't feel like it. Someone's sealing the sword. In his previous life, he was almost able to master the Great Bear style. And in this one, he wants to seek out all 7 divine swords. A little later, you'll need to find where that energy was coming from. Looks like today's theme is bunny cosplay. Everyone welcomed them. Xiao Yu asked if the guy had ever had a girlfriend. He replied that he had. The office that Mr. Zhang booked is already ready. Other classmates were already there, and the man said they were running late. The girl with blue hair missed him to death. The girl with red hair was also happy to see him. Tian Hao asked if she wanted something. The girl with the red hair called her shameless, but she wanted nothing of the sort. If she's not shameless, he's an angel. Xiao Yu greeted the others. Everyone was wondering who it was that came with the girls. It was her brother, Xiao Chen. He had an unusual hair color. He was also handsome. Tian Hao apologized for being late and offered to drink 3 drinks to that effect. They will drink to the bottom. Lunja refused to drink, but he said everyone drinks. You can't refuse. It's punishment for their lateness. She wanted to object somehow, but they took away her booze. If she doesn't want it, he'll drink it instead. That kid's in the way again. Likewise, Xiao Chen also inquired if it was too early for Xiao Yu to drink. He also took the glass from her. He doesn't have the guts to drink that much in one sitting. This guy needs to stop acting like he's something. He only sighed. Xiao Chen took the bottle. Then he started drinking straight from it. This is the kind of action no one expected him to take. He seriously drank it down in one go. Not that it was tasty. Xiao Yu said that he was awesome. He's a master at consuming booze. And others called him the god of winemaking. Tian Hao called out to the girl. After which, he asked if Security Commander Chen was now in place. The girl asked what was wrong. He pointed at Xiao Chen and said that he wasn't feeling well. Let the guard commander deal with him. Master, don't worry. They'll take care of everything. Chen is a fighter and a gold medal winner. He can definitely handle this kid easily. Another man lay with the women. Another girl walked into him. Some kid is belittling Mr. John, so Chen must help him regain his dignity. The commander asked who else was with him. Mostly students from the theater university. Some are already famous online and some will become movie actresses in the future. Now that's something worth noting. We need to go and see who's out there so bold as to harass Zhang on their turf. He and the boys walked in where the others were sitting. He's finally here. Tianhao motioned for him to sit down, but the man only shoved him. He asked Xiao Yu how old she would be this year, and if she had a boyfriend. He wanted to touch her, but Xiao Chen did not allow this to happen. Chen asked who he was for daring to behave so brazenly. I can't believe this kid's coming. But this buddy should get out of here while he can. Everyone was surprised at the kid's chutzpah. That bastard decided to go against Chen. That's kind of weird. He just took his words and stole them. There's gonna be a fight, but Xiao Chen slapped him. How could that kid ever beat a fighter? From this blow, he fell to the ground. The rest of us, however, were stunned. He passed out from a simple palm strike. Judging from the strut at the beginning, he is using the hunger style. Xiao Chen asked if they were members of the Qinglun Society. The man replied that they were from him. Xiao Chen said to take the battered man away, and he would explain everything to Mr. Murong himself. They don't even know who she is. How dare they get their hands on her? Not everything is as simple as it may seem at first glance. Lun Jia assumed that they were deliberately asked to start a conflict. Since he's not welcome here, he'll leave. Xiao Yu asked me to wait for her. No girls ever rejected him like that before. I need to get them both and humiliate them in front of that boy. At the mall, Xiao Yu asked him not to be angry. She showed the clothes that would fit him. This coat from Tianishi costs you 16,000. Could he really afford to buy it? Lu Feng asked to be without conflict, but Tianhao didn't want to listen to him. What kind of contemptuous attitude is that? Even if he can't afford to buy one, why should he care at all? He wants to buy all the clothes on the left side. A $100,000 Peaberry watch. The suit is from Tiffany's, the pants are from Alubo. Custom-made shoes in Europe, totaling 300,000, and a Citibank card with a 10 million credit limit. Being rich is so wonderful. So he suggested the girl go back with him for a drink. Wealth is not uncommon, and yes, he is just praising himself. Xiao Chen offered to go to another store, and they would leave him here. He told the salesman he wanted to buy up all his merchandise. The girl asked again, wondering if she had misheard. Tianhao replied that she had heard everything correctly. Xiao Yu asked, doesn't he even have anything better to do? This is too much. Tianhao has never acted at such a loss before. He's clearly acting on emotion. Is he jealous because Xiao Yu and Lunjia are walking around here with him? A man came in and asked if that suit she had put aside was what she needed. These are the clothes in which he returned from the realm of the Celestials. Xiao Yu pointed at the guy and replied that those were his clothes. The man asked if this was really his suit. Xiao Chen replied that it was, and also thanked him for saving his clothes. This man is the chairman of the board of directors of the Pure Pearl Society, Yu Rongcheng. He would like to purchase this suit for 100 million. The others were shocked at that price. Meanwhile, he ate the pill that Xiao Chen had left for him. The power of the pill flows through his body, through his vessels and veins like oil. What was that miracle pill the master handed him? Zheng came to his father, for he had asked him to give something to old man Cheng. He took the pill, but he also had his daughter with him. Apparently, he knows the medicine's extraordinary properties. I should go see him. What if the pill old man Murong gave him is poison? It's better not to take it. This is a very unusual drug. It was clearly not made with modern technology. The man has already tested it, and it has no side effects. It is likely that it was made in the time of the Celestials. And here he is completely right. It was made by a master who came from the ancient temple. They must keep this master close to them. Looking to the future, they must overcome and change it to their side. Something surprised them. I can't believe this is some kind of prank. How can clothes cost a table of millions? Uncle Yu is obviously confused. How can these rags be worth 100 million? Yu Rongcheng said that they didn't know each other. Therefore, it was better for him to step back. Tianhao said that he is from the Jian Association. Xiao Chen is a fraud. He just doesn't want him to cheat a man. But the man ordered Tianhao out of sight. I can't believe my uncle's been bewitched. This guy's a crook. One more word and he's finished. Are they really chasing him away because of this rogue? He started to protest. That insolent man pissed the man off. Xiao Chen asked what Mr. Yu wanted to discuss with him. He touched the guy's suit quite by accident, and suddenly his symptoms of his disease, Charcot, were relieved. They checked everything and found that the kind of material his suit was made of could not be found anywhere. The man thinks that his disease could be cured with it. That is why he asked for a sum of money for the suit. Looks like his suit is really worth that kind of money. Lun Jia recognized that he really is incredible. She thinks that she will really be able to save Xiao Kun Lun. Xiao Chen apologized, because this suit is not for sale. He waved his hand, and the suit flew after him. But since the man hadn't appropriated it for himself, keeping it and waiting for its true owner, Xiao Chen would help cure his illness. The doctors had already given up on him, and when he touched the suit, He felt an immediate sense of relief. He wondered if he could really help him. There's nothing complicated about it. If he can cure the man, he'll be indebted to him for the rest of his life, even willing to give him a whole treasure trove. Jiangzhou district, home of the Qi family. His father must avenge him. He didn't expect the guy to tear all his tendons with one punch. He's a total loser. Qi Zhang's father, Qi Qiang. Since the enemy doesn't show, they will go after him themselves. Their family has gotten rich by learning the techniques of the 5 demons that have been passed down from generation to generation. Thanks to them, the stock of their real estate firm is skyrocketing. It's the spirit of 1,000 years of battle. His ferocious nature earned him the nickname Battle Demon. He was sent by his grandfather to avenge the boy. That's just awesome. The Battle Demon's task is to track down Xiao Chen and kill him. He took orders. City, Yangtze Jiang. Here they come. It was his favorite daughter, Xiao Xiao. She is currently the general manager of the Yangtze Jiang Association. Yai Xiao asked who he was. Yu Rongcheng asked where her manners were. This is Master Xiao, who is the owner of that miracle suit. He also agreed to heal the man. He will need some silver needles for acupuncture. If they have spirit stones, have them bring him a couple. The girls were surprised that he had mastered such techniques as well. Medicine and martial arts are related. In the past, warriors not only trained but also improved their health and learned how to treat others. Preparing medicines and acupuncture are all part of self-improvement. But nowadays, a lot of things have been forgotten. Does her father really think he has a medical license? He's a fraud. How can you trust someone else with your health? And how could he heal his disease when even the best doctors couldn't do it? The man asked again if he was sure he knew how to do acupuncture. He didn't excel much in it, but it would be very easy to cure his illness. If he didn't trust him in terms of acupuncture, Xiao Chen could treat him with spiritual stones. The man would only need to meditate around them every day, except he doesn't know what spiritual stones are. They are ancient jade stones as well as jade octahedrons mined in the wilderness of the mountains. They contain supernatural power. In the field of martial arts, they are nicknamed spirit stones. He's got plenty of jade. He asked his daughter to fetch a couple. This Mr. Yu is bad because he doesn't trust his brother. Xiao Chen is kind enough to cure him, but his daughter is also suspicious of him. Lunjia reassured the girl. It's just that Xiao Chen is very young. That's why it's hard for them to believe that he has mastered the practice of acupuncture. He used to feel a very strong sword energy before, but now he doesn't even feel anything even close. But someone burst in on them. Xiao Chen didn't understand what it was at all. It was a battle demon that came after Xiao Chen to kill him. Xiao Yu frightenedly asked who it was. He explained that it was the unsettled spirit of a 1,000-year-old battle. The spirit of a warrior who died on the battlefield. They marveled that it was the spirit of a 1,000-year battle. Xiao Xiao called the guards here. The battle demon saw the beauty of the women who were here. Just the thought of peeling off her beautiful skin gave him goosebumps. Xiao Xiao shouted for him to stay away from her. Xiao Chen threw a punch at him. Where did such a violent wandering spirit come from in the first place? The battle demon was surprised that this kid was able to fend off his attacks, and some people even died just from feeling the spirit of death that comes from him. But those were mere mortals, and this guy's not bad. He's just a simple spirit that can't be reborn, which is very sad, but Xiao Chen will help him. He's killed so much that even hell won't accept him. But he's been taken in by the Qi family. He's a heavenly man now. There is no place for him anywhere, and this little man claims to be able to help him. He only laughed at the absurd thought. He certainly didn't lie about who he was. Xiao Yu asked Lun Jiawen what they should do. Lun Jia replied that Xiao Chen would handle it. He'll go to the underworld and the guy won't even have to do anything. That's the best joke he's ever heard in his 1,000 years of existence. Does he really think he can handle a celestial? You always have to stick with it to the end. He used ice execution. He didn't expect to see that level of ability from him. He'd better get away to the underworld and be reborn. The fighting spirit was all shaking. He was thankful for the favor he had been shown. He would do as he said. The spirit apologized for not giving him the respect he deserved and disturbing him. He was riding in the car. Then he started coughing up blood. How it happened? They were sacrificing to a battle demon, and he just walked away. Yu Rongcheng thanked the master. If not for him, his daughter would have died. This guy is really him. He was even able to handle the spirit of the 1,000-year battle. Was it really a dream? Xiao Yu asked if that scary devil was called a battle demon. Xiao Chen confirmed her hunch. It is a creation of a heretical school, a spawn of the 5 demons technique, and a very vicious demon. They need to devour a few souls every year to be able to exist further. Nowadays, the heretical school has few followers. He'd heard of this before. I didn't think it was true. He had some acute nephritic stones that he had asked the Taoist temple of Mount Longhu for. Xiao asked the master to look in to see if such stones would be suitable. They can hardly be considered spiritual stones, but others are a little hard to come by in today's world. The man will have to meditate in this circle for 2 hours every day. Then his disease will recede. The man did not believe that it was so simple and whether it would really work. The girl touched the stone. It's like they're glued to the floor. What kind of skill is that anyway? He felt a wonderful feeling. It was as if a powerful energy was moving through his body. This seemed to be the supernatural ability. He asked the master what it was called, but they had already left. Someone had sicked a battle demon on him, and he was emitting Qizhang's energy. But the Qi family is in the real estate business. Their agency is called Tianyuan Real Estate. In just a couple of years, they've become the biggest real estate developers in the city. They seem to be killing a couple people in each of the new buildings. She thinks it's to use her 5-demon technique. Well, they better go home now and take a break. And tomorrow he's going to visit the Qi family for a chat. Xiao asked the master to wait. Then she misbehaved and asked me not to hold a grudge. She gave him her business card. If he needed anything, he could safely turn to her. In Jiangzhou, the Yangtze Jiang Association may not mean much, but they have some influence. And this is her driver who will take them home. What he did with the spirit stones is amazing. I'm sure my father will feel better. He'll visit him in person sometime and thank him. Xiao Chen said that he needed to go to the Qinglun dojo. They were brought to their destination. Mu Ronghai introduced Cheng Haifen, president of the board of directors of Chengxi Association. His association specializes in pharmaceuticals. They also own the largest pharmaceutical factory in Jiangzhou. They came here to discuss cooperation. Xiao Yu assumed that they just wanted to use the little brother. When adults talk, children need to be quiet. She and Lunjia need to leave them alone. Xiao Yu didn't like being called a child, but Lunjia led the girl away behind her. The girl who is the CEO of the society, Cheng Peiyu, approached him. They want to discuss with him the question of cooperation concerning such pills. They can offer him a dividend of 50% of the profits, and all he has to do is tell him how to produce the pills. Cheng Haifeng is a good friend of Murong Hai. The pill made by the guy is of perfect quality. If they put the production on stream, the income will be enormous. He apologized, but he wasn't interested in money. They clearly didn't expect him to answer that way. Perhaps 50% didn't seem like enough money to him, so she offered 70%. They could also make an upfront payment of 10 million. If 10 million isn't enough, they're willing to triple the amount. But he repeated again that he was not interested in money. The master made it clear that money is like dust to him. Does he really think that 30 million will be enough for him? If the master still doesn't agree, he can offer his daughter as a bride. Of course, if he agrees to be his son-in-law. After all, their family will soon be very rich. Cheng Peiyu didn't understand what kind of nonsense her father was saying. He clearly wasn't expecting such an offer. What kind of joke is this anyway? He should wake up. The master is an honored guest in his dojo, and he's planning to poach him right in front of him. But the master is not his property. If Murong Hai had something to offer, he would definitely want this guy to be his son-in-law. He would arrange for Xiao Yu to marry him as soon as possible. He might not be interested in money, but he was very interested in spirit stones and ancient swords. The pill they showed him was created through his inner power. It's not that regular pills are inferior. Pills like this can't be mass-produced. But if they can find an ancient alchemical furnace to make them, he can help them prepare some. The house their family lives in has been inherited for centuries on end. They have the stove he's talking about. If he has time, he can stop by and take a look at it. But he must not go there under any circumstances. It's some kind of devious plan. They'll lock him up and force him to marry her. But that's just nonsense. The old man has no conscience left. And wasn't he the one who wanted his granddaughter to marry him off? They started fighting again. He needs to rest first, and they'll discuss the rest later. The man asked the master not to leave. Besides Yui, he has 5 other lovely granddaughters who don't have boyfriends. The girl rebuked her grandfather. But among his granddaughters, only Yui is beautiful, while the others are ugly and obese. How tired he was of this. Xiao Yu turned to him. She's never been in love yet either. How he wanted to finally leave already. After which, he quickly ran away. She wanted to stop him, but he wouldn't even listen. Doesn't he like any of them? Lunjia replied that he was already in love with someone. Xiao Yu wondered, and who he was in love with. But she doesn't know that. Probably should find another place to live. They almost made him a son-in-law here. He spotted someone and asked why he was here. It was a fighting demon. He wanted to be reborn, but he couldn't because of how many people died at his hand. Xiao Chen offered to knock the spirit out of him, and he asked the Lord for mercy, for he is just a miserable spirit. After he slaughtered 100 people on the battlefield and then got killed by his own man, his soul can't rest. The Qi family has given him food for many millennia, which is why he became what he is now. If he doesn't dislike the Lord, he asked for the opportunity to accompany him. Xiao Chen knew that the Qi family had 4 other spirits. Therefore, he inquired about them. They are all ancestors of their family who have brought much evil to mere mortals, and they also help their family to commit crimes by eliminating their business rivals. In the abandoned house of the Qi family, there is a large area called the 5 Spirits area, at the expense of which they have profited, becoming the largest real estate developments in Jiangzhou. There are also some ancestors who are 100 years old. They are masters of the Mao Shan technique and their skill level is great. They don't participate in crimes but only refine their secret techniques. They are very strong. Are they really that strong? They were training a martial spirit, and since the master broke the contract with them, they were very angry. Xiao Chen wants to rest today, and tomorrow the martial spirit will show him how to get to those ancestors. The spirit will be nearby to guard him from the shadows. The Big Dipper style requires 7 swords. So far he only has 1. We'll have to find the others. In his previous life, he had wondered why ordinary people could only reach the 8th level when they perfected themselves. In his past life, he had wondered why ordinary people could only reach the 8th level when they perfected. Now that the line between heaven and earth has thinned, mortals cannot reach the saint level. He didn't know if he could become a sword master in this life. He needs to refine each level so that there are no flaws. Then he will know if he can break through to heaven. Qi family. The man told the ancestor that even though they possessed spirits, they were still overpowered. The coffin opened. These spirits are extremely ferocious and belong to the realm of immortals. Did someone manage to overpower one of them? If he wasn't mistaken, it was a certain boy named Xiao Chen. Predoc asked who he was. His middle name is Xiao Beido. He is very strong. These are hard times for the Qi family. The next day, after all, the Purple Mist Sutra was indeed the best fit for him. The only thing left to do now was to find a method for him to regain his strength as quickly as possible. The door of the room opened. It was Xiao Yu who said that the boss of the Pure Pearl had come to see him. Lunjia said that Cheng Haifeng and his daughter were waiting for him there. This jerk really dared to come to her house again. He wondered what they had left here. The mere knowledge that brother is incredibly strong is already enough to explain their appearance here. She used to be sure that Cheng Haifeng was a good elder, but it turns out he's no different from those lying sons with rich fathers. He managed to find out something about Xiao Kunlun. They wanted to know what happened to the guy. He was on some mission in the northwest, where he was surrounded by a huge number of enemies. According to reliable sources, he was severely wounded, and in order not to be captured by the enemy, he gave his life, dying with the enemy. She couldn't believe it. He is sorry for her loss. According to the same sources, Wu Wenliang got information about Xiao Kunlun somewhere and sold him to his enemies. It was after that that he was ambushed by a group of mercenaries. It seems that today he would have to visit not only the Qi family, but also the Wu family, after which he came to his waiting guests. His formation was simply incredible. He only meditated in it for an hour, but even that was enough for him to start feeling better. He even started eating a few cups more than usual. He shouldn't have doubted him. The man really didn't know how high mountains could be. He hoped that he didn't hold a grudge against him. He came here today to ask Xiao Chen to cure his illness with acupuncture. The girl also apologized for being too harsh with him yesterday. They don't have to worry about little things like that. Jian Tianhao's father, Jian Shan, also arrived. Their family is in the car sales business. They now own almost 60% of all the auto stores in Jiangzhou. His son offended him yesterday, so he specially came to see him today to apologize. Tianhao should quickly apologize to the master right now. He clearly didn't like apologizing. He doesn't even try to hide the fact that he's not doing it sincerely. He looked at the crying Lunjia. The guy said he wasn't in a very good mood today, so he asked to leave them as soon as possible. If the master is in such a bad mood, he will disturb it another time. This is starting to become a big problem. I mean, he can't even offer him money. He's really sorry for her loss. He asked to see where Xiao Kunlun was buried. Murongjeng asked, following him. Tianhao watched them leave. That kid's gonna be his bitch. How dare he even say something like that to a master? Now, Pure Pearl would no longer have anything to do with the Jian family. Jianshan asked to hear him out. Since that day, the business relationship between Pure Pearl and the Jian family is no more. Xiao said she understood everything. As an elder, he advises the guy to forget about Master Xiao. because he and Master Xiao are very different. Master is not someone he can afford to mess with so easily. One day he will destroy Xiao Chen. Jiazhou Cemetery. They put flowers on the grave. Lunja still couldn't believe that he was dead. He asked if Wu's family had any influence in the military. The Wu family is engaged in international trade. She has countless contacts of different foreign enterprises. He asked for help to deliver a message for the Wu family. Have them drag Wu Wenliang here to ask for forgiveness in front of Xiao Kunlun's grave, and he can only redeem himself with his life. If he doesn't commit suicide on cousin Xiao Chen's grave, he will destroy the entire Wu family. The homestead of the W family? That's the kind of thing they do. He had just gotten a call from Murong Zheng asking him to give him Wu Wenliang. The chapter is bound to avenge him. It's not even up for discussion. Masters Qi and Zhang are also very dissatisfied with him. The man had only recently been able to obtain this magic sword, but he had already been able to reach the peak of the Qi refining realm. He really has incredible ability. They were congratulating Boss Wu. He is now the #1 master in Jiangzhou. Uncle Wu is really good. He must destroy this Xiao Chen. He asked Boss Jiang how his son had managed to mess with this Xiao Cheng. All the children are ignorant, but the Jiang family belongs to Jiangzhou, so they will always notify all concerned in any unexpected danger. This time, Jiang family will even help in this war. Uncle Wu is the ruler of all of Jiangzhou, but he also has a warm relationship with the Zhang family, so the Zhang family will definitely help if something unexpected happens. The Jiang family are just milksuckers who were lucky enough to successfully start a used car sales business. How dare they even dare to show off in front of him? He wouldn't hide from them that the Qinglong gang, the Cheng family, and Pure Pearl had all sided with Xiao Chen in this confrontation. However, there is too little space in Jiangzhou for 2 predators. The Wu family can allocate 6 masters with him at the helm to nip this problem in the bud. The Zhang family can invite 3 masters. The Qi family will invite 7 masters. More than a dozen masters would be fighting on their side at the same time. Even if Xiao Chen was a god, he still wouldn't be able to avoid death. On top of that, he had also prepared some surprise for Xiao Chen. Yangzhou Cemetery. Xiao Chen repeated for the umpteenth time that he was really sorry, trying to comfort her. They had a deal with Kunlun that they would get married in 3 years, but now it's all gone. Xiao Yu also cried, but asked her sister to stay strong. Why did this happen to Sister Jiawen and brother Kunlun? Why is this world so unfair to the lovers? Everything is just like Xiao Chen and Ye Xiaohong. Back then, Qijan pushed him off the cliff to get her, and he doesn't even know how she is now. Muronghai was able to break through to the Qi purification realm after consuming his pill. Although this old man had been practicing for 70 years, last night was the first time he was able to break through 2 entire realms in his entire life. Cheng Haifeng also ate this pill yesterday, and was also able to break through to the Qi refining realm. Muronghai didn't understand why this old man was always hanging around here. It was actually much simpler since they had studied martial arts since they were young. They had reached their cultivation bottleneck. Since the current world lacked spiritual power, they simply couldn't overcome this bottleneck to break through. His pill, however, served as the catalyst with which they were able to break through. He knew very little about the strong cultivators of the East, so he wanted to ask everything. If there was someone like Immortals now that could travel to other worlds. Now that he was able to return, it wasn't a fact that someone else wouldn't be able to do the same. Therefore, he should prepare for it in advance. Perhaps Master is asking this to see if they have any connection with other Immortals. Neither Muronghai nor his family had ever encountered any immortal cultivators. The Cheng family had practiced medicine for many years, but they had never come into contact with Immortals. However, the ancestors left some records that said that long ago, there were practitioners who managed to reach the grounding realm. This gifted them with the ability to increase their lifespan to 200 years. But since their longevity was coming to an end, they could have gone into closed cultivation or moved to other worlds to extend their lives. If there were other cultivators like Master Xiao in the world, there must be other Immortals who just hadn't shown themselves to the world yet. Although Old Man Cheng is talking nonsense, Muronghai has to admit that he is right about something. Previously, the Qinglun gang also had a few masters. Therefore, it is possible that there are other places in this world that have abundant spiritual energy, just like the Kunlun Mountain Temple. There are surely many hermits and just strong people in the mountains and near the rivers. He even vaguely feels that the Zhongnan Mountains, the Qingcheng Mountains in the southwest, Mount Emei and the Taihan Mountains, have a good amount of spiritual energy. It's probably not a bad place to cultivate there. They inquired what he meant by not bad places to cultivate. If his senses are not deceiving him, he fears that he is sensing echoes of inhuman energy from there. Most likely he feels the energy of some monsters, beasts, or werewolves. But that's not surprising. Even an ordinary animal would mutate if they were constantly in an environment that is enriched with spiritual energy. There is a record that an ancestor of the Chung family once met a werewolf while gathering herbs. He saw a man who looked like a werewolf take a pill and started meditating under the moon. The old man had also encountered something similar when he was young on Changbaishan Mountain. He encountered a werewolf-like creature that was twice his size, with white hair that blended in with the snow-capped peak. The creature sat cross-legged, and its eyes resembled blood-red pools. Xiao Chen was still worried that he didn't have enough spiritual stones and spiritual energy to further develop. But now, he just needed to find these monsters and fight them. He is indeed worthy to be considered a disciple of an ancient temple. The mountains he spoke of are considered holy places, and the monsters that inhabit these mountains are their sacred guardians who are highly revered. Master Xiao has no awe for them. He even wants to use them to speed up his cultivation. Lunjia should stop being sad and cheer up. Unfortunately, Kunlun is dead. He can't be brought back, but they must move on. Also, they must avenge him. He will teach her how to use the sword properly. As time passes, she will be able to use these skills to avenge Kunlun herself. He will teach her sword technique. When a swordsman's skills reach a high enough level, when your heart becomes ruthless and you are willing to go against the gods with a single sword, even a branch of an ordinary tree can become a first-class sword. Her current state was most suited for just such a sword technique. They listened to all of this intently. This sword technique is called the ruthless sword. To master this technique well, one must deal with all her distracting thoughts. Only the sword must remain to pave her way forward. He threw a branch. She hit a tree. The man asked what technique the master used. He didn't use any other tricks to achieve the same power. The master didn't even use sword techniques, let alone any tricks. His skill didn't even have any fixed movements. That means they saw his innate talent. Why is that old man always getting in the way? Lunjia thanked the master. From now on, she would just call him Xiao Chen. He asked if she understood what he had just explained to her. She picked up a branch. The girl's gonna give it her best shot. She also wants to learn martial arts, and has asked me to teach her a couple of techniques as well. Her grandfather used to beg her to take up martial arts, but she resisted in every possible way. She didn't want martial arts training at all. Not because his skills left much to be desired. Murong Hai asked if this old man had already had enough of life. But Cheng Haifeng replied that he was not afraid of him. If it was possible, she would like to learn martial arts from him as well. She tries to seduce the master with her beauty. Xiao Xiao also wants to become his disciple. All these girls wanted him to tutor them. He interjected, wondering if all four of them really wanted him to be their teacher. He doesn't want to take on any more students. Last time, he had taken Mo Ling and Xiao Tian as his disciples, but they had betrayed him. This was a lesson he would remember for a long time. He can destroy God with his sword, it still won't help him look into the hearts of men. Though her skills leave a lot to be desired, she's still willing to work up a sweat. She's been practicing martial arts since she was a kid. She already has some basics. If they just wanted to learn martial arts, he could teach them. But that didn't mean he would take them on as a student. He would rather their relationship stay that way. Learning martial arts is not a bad idea. Even if their skills don't allow them to fly under the sky, they will still be able to chop wood or split stone with their palm. If they practiced skills that increase their inner strength by absorbing the spiritual energy of heaven and earth, they would be able to strengthen their bodies to the point where they could crush rocks with their bare hands. He asked for some advice for this brash and cocky old man. The man also asked to be enlightened as well. Truth be told, he was going to ask for it too. But they're asking too much. How can a brother handle it all by himself? He wasn't afraid to offend a few bigwigs of Jiangzhou because of her and Kunlun. She is very worried about him. In fact, the girl doesn't even know how to thank him. If he encounters injustice on his path, he should take out the sword and get rid of it. If she really wants to thank him, then let her remember the sword technique he showed and the words he said. Because they're already there for her. And he didn't lie. A small group of people came to them. Tianhao said that this was the same Xiao Chen who had disabled Wu Wenliang and Qi Zhang. That old jerk Wu is so stupid that he decided to call the cops to deal with Master Xiao. Murong Hai should stop spitting his saliva in all directions. There were many witnesses to Xiao Chen's actions. He had hurt the Wu family, injured Wu Wenliang, and made Qi Zhang an invalid, but he was still defending the youngster. He explained that there must have been some misunderstanding here. He can guarantee that Master Xiao is not the kind of person they want to make him out to be. But Tian Hao said again that this person is a very dangerous criminal. He is also a martial arts practitioner, so they should use everything they have to apprehend him. You shouldn't have made a big deal out of yourself. Now he's gonna pay back every slap he took. He's not just a dangerous criminal. This kid took the chairman of Pure Pearl and his daughter hostage. He's got those 3 girls hostage too. So is the president of the board of directors of the Chengxi merger. He is already silent that this criminal took the Qinglong gang and all of its members hostage in the first place. If they delay, he could take someone else hostage, and then it would be much harder to capture him. He needs to be killed on the spot. What the hell is he talking about? Her brother would never take them hostage. It was clear to everyone that Qi Zhang had attacked him first, and her brother was only defending himself. Wen Liang is a dangerous criminal. He sent people to either capture her or kill her. But now that their help is no longer needed, they have shown up to arrest her savior. She's no longer talking about the fact that he sold information about Kunlun's location to his enemies. Now they're helping the real criminals. Old Man Wu seems to have come prepared. Old Man Morong deserves to die too. The suspect Xiao Chen took hostages, but when the police surrounded him and he realized that he could not escape arrest, he killed all the hostages. The police managed to kill him at the last minute. Chief Liu must realize where he's going. Everyone must listen to his orders. No one here must escape. They took the chief's orders. They should also help with that. There was even a helicopter. What a grand plan he had come up with to take down Xiao Chen. What hard work he had done. The man knows that each of their families has some weight in the East, but the only rulers of the East have always been the 9 masters. Who are they anyway compared to the masters? It was the 9 masters who created the Eastern Territory. They were Emperor Wu's 9 masters back in the day, and they combined all their strength to create the Eastern Territory. The East Territory has been flourishing for 5,000 years, and his family continues to be the heirs of the 9 masters. They now have 15 masters and countless firearms on their side. The lad must be sure to meet his end here, but he hadn't expected to be grabbed by the throat so quickly. There are too many lies coming out of his mouth. He didn't understand how that was possible. This old man is just an ant in his eyes. How dare he harm one of the 9 masters? He knows about these 9 masters. In those distant years, there were 9 ancient coffins on Kunlun Mountain, with 1 ancient corpse resting in each coffin. These 9 ancient masters were the cronies of Emperor Wu. It could be said that they were the first masters of this country. They fought in the south and in the north. And how many have joined the country of the eastern lands I cannot count. Over time, Emperor Wu decided to establish 9 provinces in the east of the country, and he handed them over to the 9 masters so that the east would become the most tranquil and peaceful area in the country. The old men should lean on the youth, but if the youth are weak, then we need to pull this weed out by the root. We must not allow such garbage to tarnish the honor of the 9 masters. Master is right. They have proof that the Wu family, cooperating with the enemies, betrayed the country. The Qi family is no better than them. They have evidence that they are buying up properties at throwaway prices, threatening property owners that they will proceed with demolition anyway, even without their consent. The Zhang family is involved in car smuggling, illegal modifications, reselling stolen cars, and many other illegal things. What a load of crap he's talking about. What kind of man is he? In the east, there are 9 provinces ruled by 9 masters. This territory is called the 9 ancient provinces. If he is not mistaken, the 9 provinces must be represented by the Ji family, whose predecessors are the Wu family. The policeman confirmed his case. The people of the 9 masters have been hermits for many years. They are very mysterious and enigmatic. You don't just meet them on the street. He doubts that anyone has ever seen them at all. The Chung family had some common dealings with people from the 9 provinces, but they don't have much overlap with them. That's all right, because the guy will arrange things on his own. Since there is already a little friendly relationship between the Wu family and the 9 provinces, he will leave the 9 masters their face, only showing the main instigator of it all this time. Tian Hao asked what he was up to and shouted for him to stay back. Xiao Chen summoned the spirit of war. He arrived at the master's call. His family had worshipped this spirit for 1,000 years, but he still betrayed them. What kind of worship are we talking about? They drove him into slavery. If it wasn't for Master Xiao, he wouldn't have a place on earth even in spirit. Xiao Chen doesn't want to get his hands dirty dealing with this person. He ordered the spirit to break his arms and legs. The guy hopes that he will do a quality job. Tian Hao forbids anything to be done to him. After all, he is the heir of the Zhang family. The fighting spirit would break his bones millimeter by millimeter. He will spare them if they bring Wu Wenliang and Qi Zhang here. They only looked at each other in silence. Why are they still standing where they are? Do they really want the same fate for themselves as that old Yu? This man's strength was unfathomable. Even the patriarch of the Wu family, who was respected by 9 masters, was defeated with just one move. They are definitely no match for him. Therefore, they will bring Wu Wenliang here right away. Today, the Jiangzhou police detained Wu Wenliang, a traitor to the motherland, and his accomplices. They destroyed a nest of Jiang family smugglers, a criminal group that was reluctant to give up so easily. But thanks to the cooperation of good citizens, the operation went smoothly. They're leaving. This young man does have a lot of promise, and so, after a while, they brought the ones he asked for. They will pay for it. Lun Jia doesn't want Xiao Chen to kill him. He ordered the war spirit to have these people guard Kunlun's peace for 7 days. If they fight about it, the spirit may break their arms and legs. If they still have their way, the spirit should know what to do. He accepted the Lord's orders. Qizhang asked me not to do that. They are classmates after all. The guy shouldn't do that to him. He realized that what he did was wrong, so he asked to let him go. Wu Wenliang told Lun Jia that he was wrong. He just liked her a lot. Is it bad to love someone? He asked to be let go too. Xiao Chen asked if he was the one who killed his parents. Tian Hao knows it was Qizhang who killed them. Finally, someone will get what they deserve. Martial spirit struck Wu Wenliang. They'll go, because he wants to be alone. Across town. What's that asshole Zhang doing anyway? He's not answering his phone either. Tian Hao had recently had a fight with someone and wanted to take revenge on him. He would be afraid to do so if he were him. The Ji family's eldest daughter, Ji Yuchang, was standing next to him. I wonder if he's still worried about him. Right now, he'd better worry about his cousin who'd run away from another blind date. He just has to cover for her. Cousin always acts like she's not afraid of heaven or earth. But it turns out she's afraid of going on a blind date. Among the heirs of the 9 families, she's the only female. To this pack of young wolves, he's like a piece of meat. The 8 heirs are constantly trying to lure her into their net. She doesn't want to marry those useless people. This time she ran away to find herself a normal guy. She has such fastidious taste. If she is not satisfied with any of the descendants of the 8 great families, he fears she will never marry. But she only hit him on the head? He should stop talking nonsense. It's been a long time since she's been to Uncle Wu's. Since she's in Shanghai, she should visit him. They were walking down the street. He felt the barely discernible aura of the sword. It was a vault ring and a sword. Pretty good find. This sword is really not bad. It's a shame it's damaged. It must be the Wu family patriarch's storage ring, but doesn't know what kind of treasures are stored in it. She wants to personally finish off Wu Wenliang, so she will definitely avenge Kunlun. He tucked the ring and sword back. If Lunjia kills him, she will be no better than himself. Besides, it's better to delay their last breath as long as possible. Killing them is like showing them mercy. The martial spirit cried out that the Lord should be assured that death would seem like paradise compared to what awaited them. He kicked Wu Wenliang and asked if he thought he was handsome. Then the martial spirit would see how it would help them when they couldn't leave offspring. They are required to learn martial arts from their older brother, so that they can fight back against such scum in the future. Master showed an unprecedented level of martial arts. He even killed that old fool Wu with a single swing of his hand. It's amazing that there is such a young and incomparable master in this world. It seems the time of the young has come. We should hurry up, or there will be a bunch of old men who want to introduce their daughters and granddaughters to the master, especially Old Man Hai. He won't let the master be taken away from in front of him. Murong Hai has forbidden him to appear in his dojo, Qinglong Dojo. She has some understanding of sword techniques, but her movements are nowhere near good enough. She'd better concentrate. The girl needs to take a deep breath and feel her dantian. There's a huge dragon sleeping right next to her loins. She better use her lower back and stomach to the maximum. She will be able to use all the available powers of her dantian. He felt her breathing hitch. Xiao Yu replied that it was because her brother put his hand on his sister's waist. Of course, her breathing would become chaotic. And now also these words of his. He noticed where his hand lay. Xiao Chen apologized for this. This was all necessary purely for the sake of her practice. Xiao Yu offered to walk her and her little sister to the academy, since they would be starting classes soon. There are a lot of street food stalls near the academy. The spicy kebabs were especially tasty there. The girl suggested walking around and trying them. Cheng Peiyu and Yai Xiaoxiao also wanted to go. He's got some things to deal with first. The gentleman's mission was accomplished. Xiao Chen inquired if they were still alive. The fighting spirit replied that they were still alive. But this life would be worse than death. Xiao Chen prepared a special technique for him. It is used by spirit cultivators. So he better get some practice. It's the entire special technique for spirit cultivators that was lost for 1,000 years. Master is too gorgeous. Martial Spirit just heard that he was going to go shopping, so he will accompany Xiao Chen. He wants to be around him all the time. But this appearance of his is a bit burdensome. He can take on the guise of a pet to be by his side at any time of the day or night. In addition, pets are very popular with girls of this era. He became a dog. This is too much. He had never thought that a war spirit could voluntarily take the form of a dog instead of the appearance of a human. Xiao Yu asked if that cute dog was her brother's. Xiao Chen replied that someone had given him a dog. Lun Jia inquired about this cute little dog's name. The martial spirit was starting to get annoyed because this petty girl dared to touch his majestic war spirit. He hadn't come up with a name for it yet. You can't leave this doggy without a name. She decided to come up with a name for it herself. Although this girl is indeed a bit pretty, but she still can't use the war spirit head like this. But this time he was okay with it. Xiao Yu started tickling him. He mentally asked her to stop and not do it again. Lunjia wanted to ask her boyfriend to teach her martial arts. She really hopes that one day she will have enough strength to protect the people close to her. Chinese martial arts were created by ancestors to hunt and kill wild animals, and can be considered a type of killing techniques. Practice begins with hardening the bones and flesh, and then moves on to key cultivation, which includes breathing techniques. Ancient beasts possess tremendous life energy, so without mastering breathing techniques, humans would lack the strength and stamina to kill them. People began to pay attention to the possibility of uniting their spirit, body, and qi into a whole. When a person reaches this level, they surpass their physical potential. Through the attainment of this level, a great number of different branches were born, such as martial arts, medicine, witchcraft, and an even greater number of different schools. She has no problem understanding the structure of Chinese martial arts, but he's not talking about them so much as he's talking about the Tao. It is a way of achieving unity of body, spirit, and qi. Once she enters that realm, she will have the opportunity to transcend it. And if that happens, she will become a saint. Some people use outside objects to achieve unity. He, for example, used a sword to reach this realm. She really doesn't know yet what realm the guy himself is in. If one were to evaluate his strength with the categories of immortals, he should most likely be in the realm of purification. Then how did he manage to defeat the patriarch of the Wu family with just one move of his hand? He was the #1 master in Jiangzhou. If one were to evaluate their strength only from the perspective of the realm, Xiao Chen is indeed far from it. But his skill is 10,000 times better than the patriarch. There is actually no point in rushing to become higher in level to achieve the greatest skill in Chinese martial arts. One must equally develop one's body, spirit, and qi. When a warrior has sufficiently developed his skill, he doesn't care about all these levels. In his hands, even an ordinary leaf can become a deadly sword. He has too much power. An ordinary leaf from a tree was able to pierce through a stone wall. What kind of skill to do that must be. Therefore, she should not strive to advance through the realms as quickly as possible. She should hone her foundation and practice her skills to the limit. He praised her for that. She's becoming more and more interested in the guy's background. She really doesn't know how to thank him for all this. But there's no need to thank him. She still has a long way to go. He just hopes she can protect herself in the future. He said she didn't have to thank him. But before she did, he touched more around her waist. The little dog led Xiao Yu forward. Xiao Yu asked if Big Brother has a girlfriend. She thinks Sis Jiawen would be suitable for the role. Shouldn't kids be thinking about things like that? They should be studying properly, not doing such nonsense. But who says kids shouldn't think about such things? At the academy, there are a lot of boys chasing after her. Oh, that Murong. He is truly terrifying. Any blade of grass and leaf in his hands was capable of killing a person. How high his cultivation level must be then. What he said about Chinese martial arts was truly unbelievable. He decided to invite the master to have dinner at their place tonight. There are some beautiful girls in his family that have never been in love yet. He wants to seduce the master with a woman's beauty. Wasn't it Murong Hai who sent his granddaughter to seduce the master? Around the corner, at such a young age, to possess such astonishing skill. No wonder he was able to defeat the old geezer Wu. If it wasn't for the 100 million yuan on his head, there's no way she'd kill a guy that talented. Changzhou Drama College. There were too many people there. Everyone immediately took notice of this cute little dog. He has such a cute doggy and needs a proper name right away, but he really doesn't know what to call it. She suggested we name him Goen. That's a super solution to his problem. But others were clearly not thrilled with her name. This silly little wench wants to call the spirit that has cultivated for 1,000 years dog balls. This spirit would definitely not be called Goen. But he was tickled by the girl's actions. Others recognized the cuteness of such a name. He started barking. Doggy likes that name too. Still, he agreed to the name. Lun just said that Kunlun had made significant contributions to the country. He had always served her faithfully and devotedly. She too decided to join the army to defend the country. The guy asked if she'd thought it over well. She said yes. Wouldn't he stop her? But why would he do that? Xiao Yu called her brother a statue. At this rate, he would definitely never get a girlfriend. It was him again. Ziyu and Liu Feng arrived. Liu Feng asked what he had done to Zhang Tianhao for not answering his phone. Ziyu asked Xiao Yu if she was Mu Rongfei's sister. Xiao Yu replied that there are such people. Isn't the girl a fan of hers? If she wants her autograph, Xiao Yu doesn't have one. Tsuyu doesn't need her autograph. Well, her friend seems special. He must be a martial arts master. The girl asked if he practiced Chinese martial arts. That girl must have gone completely blind. Does Master look like a mere martial artist? He's a true immortal. That girl can't even tell the difference between the earth and the sky. Is she in love with her little brother? But Ziyu just noticed that he has some skills. She really likes talented people, so she wants to invite him to work as a security guard in her mansion. So, this nasty girl wants the boss to be her security guard. That's really crazy. Xiao Yu was also surprised that she was offering her brother a job as a security guard. She needs a young security guard who practices Chinese martial arts to guard her garage. Her friend has the qualifications to do just that. Sounds like she's really sick. Liu Feng asked Xiao Yu not to be angry. His cousin didn't mean to offend anyone. She just judged Brother Xiao's skills judiciously. Besides, working as her house guard is a big step for him. If he can really get a job there, his future will be cloudless then. She herself rarely takes the initiative to hire people. In general, there are countless people in the East who want to become guards in her mansion. He should think very carefully before refusing. Turns out the people of the 9 families have really gotten cocky. They didn't expect him to say that. How did he even know she was one of the 9 families? After the 9 masters were buried, the families of the 9 masters took over their duties. Each of the masters had their own special cultivation technique. Returning to her question, the descendants of the 9 masters are practicing their cultivation techniques. The Yuanqi technique stinks from a mile away. Since he knows so much, he can come to her house and become a low-level adept. Her natural talent is pretty good too. She could discern at a glance that he was an unremarkable man. He might make her happy that she barely passed the threshold to be a female squire under him. She would have to think hard about this offer. Young men can be forgiven for that. Still, if he doesn't want to be a security guard at her house, he might consider a driving position. The drivers in his cousin's family are retired special forces fighters, and each of these fighters is the best of the best. They could even be called gods of war. You only get an opportunity like this once in a lifetime. Still, the members of the 9 families do like to deceive themselves at their own expense. She will become his sword keeper. Xiao Chen is ready to tell her the secret of the immortal dragon Yuanqi. How did he even know there was a dragon in Yuanqi? Kunlun Mountains is the place where the heavenly pillars of the immortal realm and the human realm are located. He learned this secret only after he ascended in his past life. He should definitely visit these mountains if we get the chance. Perhaps he will get answers to why there hasn't been a single saint in this world in 1,000 years. Xiao Chen won't tell her anything about this matter. Ziyu asked his name. His name is Jianshu, Xiao Chen, Xiao Beido. Ziyu will remember this little one's name. She called out for Liu Feng to leave, but he didn't understand why they were leaving. But she just dragged him along with words about how he should stop asking stupid questions. Already next year the whole world will recognize Big Brother. And this silly girl who calls Brother Baby will be of no use to anyone. It most likely belongs to the main branch of one of the 9 families. Even now, he can sense about a dozen pretty good cultivators. These people are most likely following her to protect her. The girl herself shouldn't be weak either. She is at the groundwork level. It is so young and is in the groundwork stage. In those distant years, Emperor Wu's 9 masters had exalted the unfathomable state in the east with their military might. Who knows how many things there are of wonder and mystery to them. Anyway, they'd better go out and eat something spicy. The man's origins are definitely unusual. Lu Feng, ask your sister what's wrong. In the past, 9 masters passed down their 9 techniques to 9 members of their families who were deemed worthy. This was the starting point for the emergence of the 9 provinces. But not many people know the real name of the technique. This guy not only knows the real name of one of the techniques, but also claimed to know the secret of the immortal dragon Yuanxi. The descendants of the 9-7 have been trying to unravel this secret for 1,000 years, but it had come to nothing. They could only practice the cultivation methods that the 9 masters had left behind according to the basic instructions. But this millennium didn't just pass by. It was discovered by them that it would be possible to obtain full-fledged techniques after someone unraveled the secret of the Yuanxi dragon. Lu Feng, stop messing with her. Do dragons even exist in this world? It's not that dragons don't exist in the world. It's that their current world is simply not designed for their survival. In ancient times, the energy of heaven and earth was abundant. It is this energy that dragons need to exist. Perhaps there are still places in the world where there is energy, and that's where real dragons can exist. Ziyu decided to call it a day and finally eat some super straw noodles, but someone was already watching them. It was a blonde woman. She recognized the main heiress of the Z family, Z Yuechan. Yuechan really wants to invite Xiao Chen to join her as a guard. Her interest in him has once again increased. But she shouldn't even think of spoiling Master's main event of the evening. Master had spent so many years in Jiangzhou. The Wu family had to help. Qing Longgang leader. To win the position of the chief of the local residents of the Z family, who could have known that this Xiao Chen would kill the patriarch and offend the Qi and Jiang families. It was even for the best. These families have lost their patron, and Xiao Chen himself has yet to even realize what kind of force he has provoked. It turns out, if she kills Zi Weicheng, Master Lan will be able to directly inherit the position of the head of the Z family's local residence. What the hell is she talking about? She doesn't think this girl is so easy to kill. He is the Wu family's secret agent in the Qinglong Gang. And both the Wu family and Wu Wenliang had been hurt by Xiao Cheng. So didn't he have the desire to deal with him himself? His real identity can't be revealed. And Murong Hai is old, and Murong Zhang isn't interested in doing the gang. The Murong sisters were never interested in it at all. Right now, most of the gang's business is already in his hands. When he becomes the leader of the gang, all the prestigious forces of Jiangzhou will be gathered in the master's hands. So that's what this is all about. Then she will give master a nice gift in the form of Xiao Chen and Ziyuechan. The interiors here are contentedly interesting. This is the same place that serves super tasty kebabs. She seriously put that stupid collar on him. A waitress came to them. She welcomed them to the restaurant and asked them where they would like to be seated. She also noticed the cuteness of the doggy. There's a special room for pets here, so they can leave that doggy there. Xiao Yu said goodbye to Goden. This woman was here too. Ziyu decided that he was following her. He must have regretted refusing her offer. In the entire East, no one would refuse an invitation from the 9 families. But he really wasn't interested in inviting her. He also didn't follow her. Martial artists are so similar. Once upon a time, there was a guy who wanted to make himself look like a hero who saves a pretty girl. All so he could be a security guard at her house. And now he shows up, stalks her, and then pretends like they met by chance. Maybe he should just be straightforward about what he wants. Xiao Yu seemed to suddenly hate the people of the 9 families. Now she doesn't find her older sister's words about the children of the 9-7 being the most annoying stalkers so strange. Her sister is very famous in the entertainment industry, so it's normal for the heirs of the 9 families to run after her. Even in their school, there are people that have been hurt by the heirs of the 9 families. If the current generation of the 9 houses is like this, all he has to say is that the era when the East was ruled by the 9 houses is coming to an end. Lu Feng asked them not to leave. He wanted to say something about his cousin. If they talk to his cousin even a little, they will realize that she is not that kind of person. People with 9 houses are used to always being above others. These people are used to being flattered and favored at every turn. But suddenly there are a few people that completely ignore them. This immediately suggests that they are up to something bad. If the restaurant owner reveals his cousin's identity, the restaurant will temporarily close to serve her. Ordinary people won't be able to go near her. So there's no need to be angry. In fact, his cousin is the best representative of the current generation of the 9 families. Interacting with her will quickly change their opinion of the younger generation. Lun Jia heard that the son of the Jiangzhou governor is Zi Yuechang's younger brother. His name is Zi Tianxian. There's no crime he wouldn't commit. This guy has no shortage of luxury cars, yachts, or airplanes, but most of all, he likes to amuse himself on people. He especially likes to play with the feelings of beautiful girls. Many of the Academy's roses have been plucked by him. It is said that Ye Xiaohuan also. He certainly didn't like what he heard about her. Her brother is really that kind of person. He's done a lot of bad things, plus he doesn't only like to play with girls. He doesn't spare men either. Even though they are brother and sister, she doesn't approve of his actions at all. Even when she was younger, she had heard how messy the lives of the heirs of the 9 families were. But she couldn't even imagine that these gossips would turn out to be true. She must learn Chinese martial arts from her older brother as soon as possible to show these bastards how to live properly. Xiao Chen suggested that they have lunch together. She is practicing the yuanxi technique that 9 families have taught her. But there is an obvious flaw in this technique, although there is no problem in the initial stages of practice. After the Qi purification step on the 15th of every month, she will feel coldness in her hands and feet, and her strength will leave her. And the higher her cultivation level, the more serious the consequences would be. He could ease her plight a little. How does he even know her family's secret? But you don't have to be so surprised. He has very distant roots in 9 families. The 9 ancestors of Kunlun Mountain came to this world from the world of immortals. 5,000 years ago, they met 9 masters who became the ancestors of their families. From the ancestors, the masters received cultivation techniques that gave birth to the 9 masters and the entire Eastern Territory. Since then, the spiritual energy of heaven and earth had become less and less, and the martial artists had become weaker with each generation. Cultivators used to be able to fly and enter the world of immortals. Perhaps the reason for the disappearance of spiritual energy was because of the 9 great ancestors. The 9 families must definitely know something about this secret. He should definitely talk to them about it. This mysterious young man knows her family's secrets, and it's only known to the core members of the family. Who he is, Xiao Yu tore them away from their thoughts. Did they really fall in love with each other? Xiao Chen replied that of course not. And she should stop saying stupid things. After all, she's not even that talented, then how can he look up to her? That evil woman actually put that uncle in the dog room. He's a spirit, not a dog. Then this uncle will mess up all the dogs in here. He noticed a beautiful dog. How could that uncle like her? That uncle couldn't possibly be in love. Looks like this doggy named Godan is truly happy. Jiangzhou governor's villa. The girl brought the gentleman more fruit. Qinglong said that the master wanted to see those 3 bosses. Heir of 9 families, the son of the governor of Jiangzhou, Zitianxiang. They were Wu Wenliang, Qizhang, and Jiang Tianhao. To save everyone, he spent a lot of money and even took out 3 bloody black jade pills from the treasury. These 3 pills were created by one alchemist 100 years ago. Now that the alchemists were gone, they could only be appreciated as priceless treasures. These pills not only healed all their wounds, but also gave them a new life. They should realize how kind the master had been to them. Tianhao is grateful to the master for his kindness. If the master asks him to be his cow, he will be his cow. That is, he will do whatever the master tells him to do. The Qi and Wu families are willing to do anything for a master. Their families only have a few billion. Even if they all gave their assets to the master, it would be like giving him a pair of boots. If the young master so desires, he is willing to be even his slave. They only laughed. To be a young master's slave, one must at least be a master of Chinese martial arts. And he's also silent that the image and temperament of his slaves must be on the level of top supermodels. The 3 of them are barely qualified to be his dogs. But Zitianxian liked their facial expressions. Anyone who doesn't want to give in to it will do so sooner or later anyway. He took Tianhao by the chin. Wenliang asked to be allowed to move on with his life for the sake of the former patriarch of the Wu family. Old man Wu was the security commander at the Z mansion. He was also never stingy in lending him money. It was the old man who really guarded his peace day and night. Therefore, he didn't mind accepting the guy as a dog that would guard the entrances of his door. He ordered Wenliang to change into the uniform of a slave. In a month's time, he would give him one errand. If he successfully completes it, he will have everything he could ever wish for. He thanked the young gentleman for the opportunity. As for these 2, they will take care of his dog. And when the time comes and they are useful to him, Tian Xian will let them know. He's the main heir of the Zhang family. His family's assets are in the hundreds of millions, but this guy's still sent to take care of the dog. Wu Wenliang is a respected man in all of Jiangzhou. But this kid still does what he wants to do. The one who is currently feeding the young master's dog is the son of the mayor of Zhenhai City. The few slaves that are serving the young master are also big shots. One of them is the chief heir of the president of a bank in Jiangzhou. The other one is the chief heir of the CEO of Jiangzhou Airport. However, they are very grateful to have gotten this position under the young master. Right now, Jiangzhou was leading the head of the Z family's residence, and this had been the case for 1,000 years. It's not something they could just guess at. Nowadays, the old head is already very sick, which means that either Zi Yuecheng or the young master will take over. But that wench will get married sooner or later anyway. They shouldn't even think that the young master had treated them unfairly. Countless people would like to be in their shoes and be given the opportunity to become the master's servant. They should cherish this unique opportunity. This is the young master's favorite dog. From now on, they become her slaves. She will always be taller than themselves. If the dog is hungry, they must feed it immediately. If the dog will not sleep, they are forbidden to close their eyes. If he wants to urinate, they must clean it up the minute he does. And if he suddenly displeases them, their families will be finished. The young master's methods are tens of thousands of times more ruthless than that war spirit. The young master is giving them a chance. He'd hurry up if he were them. He changed into his uniform. He should only walk like a dog. That means on all fours. Tian is acquainted with his sister Zi Yuecheng and Liu Feng. He asked to be allowed to become the master's personal slave. That's not good. That woman is not his sister. He ordered Wen Liang to bring his dog here. It's definitely some... He started shaking. A moment later, he lay battered on the floor. Tian inquired about their current progress. He's almost taken over the Qinglong gang. Right now, 80% of the gang's strength is in his hands. Very soon, he will go and transfer Murong Xiaoyu overseas. After that, Murong Zheng will transfer the rest of the gang's forces into his hands. He holds almost half of Jiangzhou's power. He will definitely win this post. This Murong Hai, who personally led the Qinglong gang, is much more useful than that scum Wu. Is this Xiao Chen really that strong? He is much stronger than the average martial artist. He has a suspicion that the guy came from the ancient temple on Kunlun Mountain. He heard Murong Hai talking about a certain temple.
Is any temple worth mentioning in the race of 9 families? They should hurry up and execute the plan. The old man is feeling worse and worse every day.
He ordered to tell that murderous wench that he was very interested in Xiao Chen. Such a slave with great strength and an unshakable heart would look good in his collection. This dish has such an incredible flavor. They have kebabs on the menu too. They are prepared by her family's chefs, but they are not as delicious as they are here. She also asked the guy how he knew her family's tech was flawed. It's all because he's seen members of her family before. Later, he would find a quiet place and give her some tips on practicing this technique. He couldn't tell her that he had seen her family members in the immortal world who were able to ascend. The older brother has incredible power. She ran away from another blind date that her family organized. She thinks the little brother would be a good boyfriend for her. He's definitely worthy of her. However, her older brother is so cool that she definitely can't be his only one, and they only remained silent. It turns out that they had sent Zhang Tianhao and the others to pray for their sins, but they all suddenly disappeared together. Meanwhile, she wondered if she was really capable of falling in love with him. It was not going to happen. Tianhao isn't really a bad person, but he doesn't know how to lose it all, especially when it comes to another pretty girl. It's not as simple as it seems. If she remembered correctly, Uncle Wu was the head of security who was responsible for her brother's safety. It could be said that he was a pawn of 9 houses. The Wu family ran her brother's underground business and helped him with his dirty and shady dealings. It turns out that this trio had gone missing, rather than coming to cause him trouble once again, thanks to her brother. That's probably what happened. Xiao Chen is a very dangerous person, but her brother is cruel, and even a little sick in the head. Ever since he was a child, he always got everything he wanted. He loves to maim people, both physically and mentally. He's going to get Xiao Chen too. And he likes killing people. The credo of his sword is always go forward with your head held high. He really should be more careful. This guy is really a pervert. He even abused a few of the school flowers. There are several students from the movie department. He drove them so crazy that some of them committed suicide. And the school just gets another bribe and brings it all down. This is the truth. No wonder her sister told her to stay away from members of the 9 families, and how these 9 families simply tolerate the existence of such a man in their own ranks. The 9 regions were inherited by families for 5,000 years. During these 5,000 years, the territories of the East were constantly passing from one master to another. But it is the 9 families that have always remained in power. Although her brother is a terrible pervert, there are plenty of people even more perverted than him. This is the fate of the golden youth of the 9 families. It's quite possible that the man who becomes her husband will be even more horrible perverts than her brother. No wonder one of the 9 lords of the 9 families said, dying of another feud, "May life never again appear in your house." Xiao Yu felt that she didn't have such an enviable fate. But couldn't she choose her own boyfriend? People of the 9 families pay attention to the potential groom's family, his strength, status, connections, finances. Not to mention the East. There aren't many people in the whole world that would be worthy of her. She doesn't want others to decide for her. But no one is worthy of her. He suggested replacing the wine with juice and talking about this delicious food, and not other things. The girls recognized his point, but suddenly Xiao Chen said not to drink it. There's poison in this juice. It looks like the killer is here somewhere, and from the looks of it, he's come for Ziyuchan. Cheng Peiyu and Xiao Xiao came over. They thanked Master for ordering them this juice. It's delicious, but the sisters were fooled. Big Brother didn't order anything for them. A waitress met them at the entrance and handed them these drinks, saying that Xiao Chen had handed them this. Suddenly they began to fall. The guy caught them. It seems they didn't come for Yuechan, but specifically for Xiao Chen. He asked the others to try not to move at all. He was wrong. All the food was poisoned, not just the drinks. It's some combination of poisons, not just one poison. The combination of these poisons is terrifying. If he's not mistaken, this poison came to them from ancient times. Other people were already lying unconscious. Turns out there are even people in this world that can recognize what poison she's poisoned them with. And he's good with poisons, but he's already tasted them. So why is he standing there like nothing happened? When did she even have time to poison them? Lunjia feels very weak. She's completely out of strength. Lu Feng asked his sister if she was okay, or if she was alright. That girl poisoned them all. She can't believe that even she was victimized by her. When he went to this restaurant, the spicy dish that he felt immediately let him know that she was an unusual person. Did she lose control of herself when she was squeezing that doggy? It was because Xiao Yu said that this restaurant was very popular. When they came here, the room was empty. As for the people sitting at the tables now, they are all her accomplices. He was truly worthy of the title of the person that defeated Old Man Wu. He was the #1 master in Zhangzhou, who an ordinary person would definitely not be able to defeat. But don't be so careless. There are people from 9 families here. He knew for a fact there was something wrong with that woman. She was using that girl to seduce that old uncle. Isn't that old spirit the kind of dog that can be seduced by beauty? Why are there so many people here in the first place? The martial spirit wanted to take care of these worthless little killers himself. But are they capable of trapping someone who is above heaven and earth? It seems that this cute dog is actually a transformed Qi family war spirit dog. The Qi family were originally descendants of a master from Maoshan Mountain, who taught them the technique of summoning the 5 evil spirits and the unique 1,000-year-old art of raising them. But even if he is 1,000 years old, he is still a child in her eyes. He's not even able to counteract the power of enchantment. How is that possible? Could he have been poisoned too? And they say that poison masters are almost impossible to resist. He had even heard that immortals would have to flee if they met them, but in reality, there are always several ways to resist them. But Ziyuechen doesn't care who she is. Hesitantly, he got bored of living and decided to meet the people of the 9 families. Has the underdog of 9 families decided to speak up? This miss doesn't have to worry so much. Later, this uncle will spend time with her and give her the happiest moments of her life before she dies. How dare he interrupt her when she speaks? Suddenly, he began to choke, whereupon he fell to the floor. As it turned out, the girl's name was Tang Xuan. How dare she do such a thing to her own people? He seems to have a good opinion of her. After that, another man kneeled down. That crazy woman even kills her own people. Lunjia admitted that right now, she can only rely on Xiao Chen. She is not even capable of defending herself. Therefore, she must definitely become stronger. If they fail this mission, how will they be able to explain to the master the motivation behind their actions? There will be no explanation. I think he's gotten too soft-hearted. He had completely forgotten that there are always people who want to make trouble for him. And he's the kind of person who hates trouble the most. There's one good way to get rid of them. Everyone felt his intense pressure. You just have to get rid of their root cause from the root. He'd already gotten rid of one man, who apparently was sick of living that he wanted to attack on his own. It's worth it to get a grip. That punk's head is worth $100 million. So they've decided to overpower him with numbers. Let them approach him one at a time because it's no fun to end the fun too quickly. But he himself decided to make the first move and attack them. His sword was covered in blood. He disarmed a couple more people. These are ancient sword techniques. They are considered long lost in modern martial arts. She is becoming more and more curious about its origins. She is, after all, a member of the Tang family. Her family is also part of the 9 families of the East. How did they even dare to attack Xiao? She should know what will happen if the 9 families start a war. She is one of the heiresses of the 9 families. Tang Xuan doesn't need a reason to kill her at all. Is she really so sure she can kill everyone here? She could really kill someone. Xiao Yu has never fallen in love with anyone before. She's never even had a boyfriend. If she really wanted to kill them, she would have done it long ago. And in case they are poisoned with a deadly poison, she will still drag it out until the last minute. She must be reluctant to take the case seriously, because she's very curious as to why they were poisoned and he wasn't. He had learned that the most mysterious family in the East was the Tang family. And he also happened to learn that they were not only good at poisons, but also at cultivation. In each of their generations, a woman rules. In each generation, that female candidate for sainthood is sent to the city to gain experience. She's also been to the brink of life and death, which leads one to believe that she is the saint of that generation. Not only is he good at martial arts, but he's also very smart. She's not even talking about his knowledge of other people's secrets. According to her family's customs, now even if she wanted to, she couldn't let them go so easily. Xiao was beginning to understand. She must have been sent to them by Tian to kill her. Xiao Yu began to feel sorry for her. How could her own brother send someone to kill her? Was it really all because of the head post? A kind man could never sit long in the chair of the head of one of the 9 families. The head of her family is probably watching her and her brother's confrontation as well. It's such a challenge for them. Her brother will constantly look for new ways to get rid of her so that he can take over as the head of their family. You can't be born into a powerful family and not lose anything. Their situations are probably similar. If she tells him the secret of the poison in the Tang family, he will keep her alive. And he's pretty interesting. Such a man would definitely be very popular in her homeland. I mean, she was going to kill her brother, so why would she suddenly want to grab him and go to Sichuan with him? It's because she's crazy. She's just stalling for time to try and poison him. He won't let her do it, though. He attacked her. A weapon appeared in her hand as well, so she knows how to use a sword. This is getting pretty interesting. It also attacked him, but he easily blocked her blow, after which he launched a counterattack. But she won't give up so easily either. Xiao Chen asked, so she really is a Tang family saint. It was the first time he had ever seen a saint in the guise of a blonde. Let him try to figure it out. She ordered her men to deal with the others, and she kept Xiao Chen for herself. He uses his spiritual power to temporarily suppress the effects of the poison in the body of the fighting spirit. He must deal with these people. Now this uncle will regain his true appearance, and then they will definitely die from the mere sight of him. But nothing happened. It seems that this ancient poison is also blocking the ability to transform. This is their dear Xiao, whose skin is like jade, and yet no man has ever known her. She definitely won't be able to get out of bed today. But he shouldn't be so wealthy. It's a pleasure for him to attack such a beauty. Looks like he's sick of living. She shoved it away from her. Why shouldn't this miss now taste his prowess? Xiao Chen punched him in the face. He asked the girl if she was okay. Even though this poison suppresses her body a lot and she feels weak, her strength is still enough to deal with such scum. Does she really think her family's poison is that simple? She threw a stool at the guy. If they risked using their spiritual power, this ancient poison would make their blood boil, and then the fever would become unbearable. This description reminds me too much of an aphrodisiac from martial arts novels. The Lunjia family has ancient records that this poison was indeed used as an aphrodisiac. It was used to kidnap girls. What are they gonna do now? She hasn't even made a gay friend yet, but he will protect them. The man wanted to chase that dog out of his way. Does he look down on him? He bit his leg. The man cried out in pain. Since he dares to look down on dogs, let him taste his paw. The dog hit him. There's another man who's been harassing them. It's just disgusting. He wanted to take good care of her. The dog was busy with other people. It's no good because the girls are in danger. He can't get there in time to help them. Since he dares to be distracted while fighting her, she seems to be underestimated. It seems the girls are really in danger. He can't afford to waste any more time. Even though he claims he's not afraid of her poison, his body gives him away. He can't use his spiritual power. He threw his sword. It was time for Jiwen to use the sword technique he was showing her. She saw his sword. She certainly wouldn't let him down. Could it be that this girl is also a cultivator? She better get over here and appreciate her brother's techniques. She's gonna love it. She wounded him with her sword. How is that even possible? They'll be safe now. Does he manage to keep his mind on his beloved during the battle? She thought he should pay more attention to the women around him. She should stop talking nonsense. She was his cousin's fiancée. Then it's really no surprise. Men always like what they can't have. He threw a punch at her. What incredible speed. She had ruined his mood, so he had no intention of wasting any more of his time with her. He braced himself before another attack. She felt a powerful sword technique. He threw a punch. Those blows were aimed right at her. She can't wait for him to become part of the Tang family after all. Besides, is her figure any worse than that girl's? She's a real demoness. This wench knows how to strike a nerve, because Sis's figure really can't compare to Xiao Chen's figure. Now even Sis's long legs are nothing compared to this wench's legs. Even the dog looked at her feet. Lunja tapped both of them. If Xiao Yu said something like that again, she would rip her little head off. But she was telling the truth. It looks like she won't be able to take away his power today. She was very curious about this situation, since he was clearly affected by her poison. Somehow it didn't affect his fighting power. Is he really an Iron Man? Does she really want to escape so easily? She dared to attack one of the heiresses of the 9 houses. Now, no matter who is behind her, there's no way the Yushan family will leave her alone. Well, she should have taken care of herself. All were poisoned by her family's ancient poison. Once upon a time, it was infamous as a poison capable of tempting even immortals to a night of pleasure. Soon, she would feel its power. If a guy can't bear it, he can f*** her. She will always be happy to accept him in the Tang province, sees her soulmate. After which, she ordered the others that they were leaving. Are they really going to let them go so easily? Everything she said before was true. They had all been poisoned. Under the effects of this poison, their body temperature would continuously rise until it became unbearable. Then, the blood and qi would boil, and after that, the internal organs would also begin to heat up. In other times, there was only one way to get rid of this poison, and that was for a man and a woman to have coitus. If that's the case, he won't be here anymore. He won't be in their way. The first thing Xiao Yu should do is to call her father back to get them out of here. Pure Pearl Hotel. It was full of ice. They could feel which bodies were on fire. The temperature here is even below 10 degrees Celsius. But they're still sweating. What an incredible poison. The poison in Liu Feng's body is finished, so he can get out of here. He can take it from here. Can he really handle this alone? Does her big brother want to do this to her? I mean, she's never been in a relationship before. Xiao Chen explained that he was going to use the life energy cycling technique to try to get the poison out of their bodies. Unfortunately, this technique is very dangerous. That was why he said that only he could help. Everyone should hold hands. He is about to begin the detoxification process. He ordered the battle demon out of the room and guarded the door. The boss is the real villain. Goen feels he needs help too, doesn't he? Lu Feng took the dog with him, but he bit him on the shoulder. Why this poison has many times less effect on men. Unlike them, she constantly feels like her blood is boiling. Sometimes she even feels like she's about to explode. They should try to remain calm. May have good fortune in his endeavor. He begins to use his spirit out the poison. She feels like she's completely out of control. So did she. She feels like she's completely lost her self-control. It was too hot in here. That's a very bad sign. Even she's on fire. She reached up to his face. They all looked at him like predators. They need to get a grip. They need to calm down soon, or this could end very badly. But they can't control their bodies. The embrace alone makes it feel so good. He began to run from them. Ancient poison is really something, but there are a couple other ways to detoxify it. He apologized to them. Something flew into the head of each of the girls. 5 hours later, the doors are finally opening. Lu Feng immediately inquired if his cousin was all right. If she can't get rid of this problem, he's finished. As long as the boss is here, he has nothing to worry about. The guy loved the fact that this doggy could talk. This uncle is the spirit of war. Talking is nothing to him. Xiao Chen asked where Zi Tianxin lived. His villa is located in the best neighborhood in Jiangzhou. As long as a man doesn't hurt Xiao Chen, he won't do anything to him. When he does, he won't get away with it. But there's no need to be so impulsive. Is he really ready to challenge the authority of the 9 houses? He's ready to do it. He used to be nice to them all and even let a couple of them go, but they ended up spitting on his kindness and even decided to send an assassin to him. This time, they won't get away with it. Inside Zhu Tianxian's villa, this guy is really very interesting. Mission failed. He survived, and she herself took the initiative to go against one of the heiresses of the 9 houses. She must realize how much trouble this would bring to the master. The poison she poisoned them with is a favorite treat of the golden mulberry silkworm. But in fact, it's a very powerful aphrodisiac. They became the future food of her silkworm. He's very fond of sucking other people's blood. Pretty soon, she'll let him out for a good meal. It is said that the Tang family's golden mulberry silkworms are the most poisonous in the world. He really hopes that she will not disappoint the master this time. Master is as interested in the Tang family saint as Xiao Chen. Therefore, she shouldn't even think of playing with fire, or else she would fall into master's hands very quickly. She let go of her silkworm. Is Tianxian thinking of taking her into his harem? This saint has an innate celestial body. Will his normal body even be able to handle her? According to the military, it is one of the most poisonous bodies. Zifu had already sent someone to investigate the circumstances of Zi Weichan's death. His job now is to keep an eye on this crazy woman, that she must not escape for anything. He took orders. She's the one who's gone crazy. But he didn't say anything just crazy. Looks like he'll be the silkworm's first appetizer for the day. He begged for mercy. After which he fell. The golden silkworm needs to eat all the women surrounding Xiao Chen. Let Xiao Chen leave Xiao Chen himself to her. In the courtyard of the villa, the heir to the president of Jiangzhou Bank has been feeding his dog for months. He has served his dog very well, now he deserves more. In the future, he will be able to inherit his father's position. At the same time, it will give him another loyal dog. He thanked the young master. He would never forget what the young master had done for him. Governor Jiangzhou is also a loyal dog of the Zi family. But some people don't want to become his dogs. Tian Hao admitted that he had greatly erred. He asked to be given another chance. Those 2 bastards don't deserve to be his dogs. They're no good at all. They should get out of here. They asked not to kick them out. But Tianxian only hit them. Xiao Chen saw all of this. It seems that the words about Tianxian being a real pervert were true. The martial spirit can sense dozens of strong masters' auras here. There are tons of them here. He noticed Wu Wenliang, Qi Zhang, and Jiang Tianhao. It really wouldn't have cost him anything to swat them before, but he'd been too kind to them. Now they were bound to meet the devil himself. Well, it's the territory of 9 families. The Zi family have been the rulers of Jiangzhou for thousands of years. They better not have people like this Zi Tianxian in their families. It's a gesture of goodwill, after all. He's helping them clean up the trash from their ranks. After cultivating the techniques he taught the martial spirit, he should be able to take on a few masters. The rest, he could leave the rest to him. He is attacked by several men. Who he is and how dare he sneak in here unnoticed. This is the Tsu family mansion. He better get out of here right away. Tianxian turned his attention to the commotion. He finally met up with Xiao Chen. Did he really have the guts to cross over here, for Tianxian to organize trouble for him? He said to catch this Xiao Chen. Then he'll re-educate him well. They obeyed his order. Xiao Chen suggested that he kill himself so that he wouldn't have to smear his hands on him. Tianxian has lived on this land for 20 years, but this is the first time he sees a man whose ego is even bigger than him. He has to stay alive when he is caught. Tianxian is going to knock his teeth out one by one. Then he will see if he can continue to be so bold. The person who can catch him alive gets 100 million. Everyone immediately wanted to catch him. One man he had already put to flight. They should grab this bastard sooner rather than later to get the 100 million. This is the real power of money and power. If he surrendered right now, Tianxian might consider sparing him. Otherwise, he will declare a reward for his family, his relatives and friends. It was worth it just to imagine that the whole world would turn against him. Qi Cheng shouted to catch that freak Xiao Cheng sooner. He punched another man in the face, but the boss is too strong. There's no point in wasting his strength on these weaklings. Best let her see how Uncle will deal with them. How's he gonna get hit like that with a dog's paw? Goen quickly straightened them out. The man recognized that he was really quite good. Then he asked him his name. The guy said his name was Xiao Chen, Xiao Beido. He shouldn't provoke the people of the 9 houses. Even if he is strong, he is not the only strong person. How much useless information he had just heard. The best way to get out of a sticky situation is to get rid of the source of it. This Xiao Chen is a very strange person. He pushed him off a cliff 7 years ago, and almost got rid of his entire family. But now he's back. He feels like he's a completely different person. So maybe he got a chance to be on an incredible adventure. He ordered the big guy to catch this man. He wants this guy to stay alive. When he has played with him, he will slowly cut off pieces of meat from him and feed them to the dogs. If all of his subordinates are of that level, he suggests that he should kill himself. He said it again, but they only laughed. He is not in his right mind to threaten the son of the governor of Jiangzhou and the future governor. And he's not just threatening him, he's suggesting he kill himself. He's definitely in a bad place. A shot rang out. He caught the bullet with his bare hands. If it wasn't the Tang family's hidden attack, it was simply useless against him. He jumped on the roof. Dealing with each of them individually is too slow. This poisoning was a hidden blessing for him. After all, it allowed him to slip through his cultivation bottleneck. He now had 3 swords, and along with breaking through his cultivation bottleneck, he could now materialize his sword aura. This new technique is sure to help him get rid of more than one target. He aimed a hail of swords at them. Some were killed by the sword, and some he slashed himself. There were many corpses all around him. Now it's finally his turn, and others were stunned by such power. That's not human. It's the real devil. They should run while they have the chance. Who let her bark in the first place? He threw her to the ground, after which she put her foot on it. He had now only reached the point where he was barely qualified to have a conversation with him. These 3 have already lived long enough. Xiao Chen's mood turns sour when he sees them. Please, he'll start with Wu Wenliang. He stepped on his face. One thing Xiao Chen had dealt with. Others begged the young master for help. They did not want to die. But Tian only slapped his face, not wanting to see this dirty dog. That one hit Xiao Chen. Xiao Chen punched him. Now it's time to get to the third. He asked me not to kill him. He knows where Ye Xiaohan is. She's his ex-girlfriend. Doesn't he want to save her? But Xiao Chen didn't even bother to listen to him. Tian observed this picture. He really is a master. No wonder the Tang family saint couldn't kill him. But it's still not enough. It seemed to the man that Xiao Chen was from the Immortal family. Although this young man's level was quite good, the strength of the 9 families exceeded his imagination. If he drops to his knees right now and apologizes to the young master, he can guarantee that the master will let him go. If he knelt down and kissed his feet, declaring that he would never rise up against him again, Tian would think of you to spare him. He will even be able to live with his dog. That's a very good offer. In the ice room, the girls there were meditating. She doesn't know why, but lately she feels like she's been on pins and needles. Xiao Yu too. She also misses her brother very much. Lunjia asked if anyone happened to remember if they had something with Xiao Chen. They only remember being in his arms for a very long time. They decided to drop this conversation for now. Ziyue-chan feels that something should happen soon. Xiao Yu spotted a cute fat bug. It's a very poisonous golden mulberry silkworm. At the villa, Xiao Chen might even give him a chance. If he immediately ripped out his tongue, he would keep him alive. True, it would be necessary to break his legs. He's really going to make an excellent dog. He ordered him to be brought back alive. Tian will undress him and skin him. Younger brother has made a very big mistake. You can't offend the young master. But Xiao Chen was able to stop his punch. He's really not bad, but let him taste it. Xiao Chen didn't expect that he had a blade.